market. If you want to sell within your time frame and get the most money possible, now is the time.
Harpole Real Estate with Keller Williams will ensure a stress-free move for you. Not all agents are the same. In fact, Eric, Jeanette, and their team outsell all other agents and teams in Lane County. Since 2009, they've helped 150 more families sell and move than the number 2 agent. The reason? Better marketing and better negotiating. And unlike other agents, they offer flexible commissions. They're exclusive, enhanced listing program, and if you're not happy, fire them. You are in control.
Call for a free no-pressure consultation, 541-286-3030 or at harpolehomes.com. If you live in Douglas County, Harpole Real Estate can help you too. Now you have a real estate team that can get your home sold. 541-286-3030.
Max Muscle Sports Nutrition is more than a nutrition store. Tom here at Max Muscle. If you want to make changes to your overall health, lose weight, build muscle, or if you just want to feel better, stop by, talk to a certified nutritionist. Max Muscle, Franklin Boulevard, across from the Market of Choice.
This is a referral service. Calls will be routed to an independent referral insurance agency. Do you know the number one cause of bankruptcy? No, it's not losing your job or running up credit card debt. It's not even divorce. It's medical costs. If you and your family don't have health insurance, just one serious illness or accident could be financially devastating. But now there's good news, really good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide health insurance for all Americans, even uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Now anyone can get health insurance even if you have a pre-existing medical condition. I repeat, now anyone can get health insurance coverage. Call now for a free no-obligation quote on affordable health plans available to you. Again, this is a free hotline for anyone, even if you have pre-existing conditions. Protect you and your family from sudden unexpected medical costs. Call the free health insurance hotline right now at 1-800-841-0007. That's 1-800-841-0007. Call 1-800-841-0007.
The Bloomberg Market Report, sponsored by Pacific Continental Bank, serving your business and community in Eugene for over 40 years.
Sales at U.S. retailers unexpectedly fell in March, raising concern that consumer spending is losing momentum. The 0.3% decline in purchases followed little change the prior month. The decrease was led by the biggest drop in demand for cars in a year and cutbacks at clothing stores, internet merchants, and restaurants. And U.S. stock futures have paired some of their earlier gains still higher here. S&P futures up 8 points, Dow futures up 68. Shares of J.P. Morgan Chase are higher in pre-market trading. The biggest U.S. lender by assets posted first quarter profit that beat Wall Street estimates as the company slashed bankers' pay and trading revenue declined less than most analysts were predicting. And wholesale prices in the U.S. unexpectedly fell in March for a second month, showing inflation is still well contained as the Fed weighs whether further increases in the benchmark interest rate are warranted. Crude oil this morning is down 1.7% at $41.45 a barrel. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
The Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
628 News Radio 1120 KPNW. A little breeze today, but not going to be overly wet. They're kind of saving it up for tomorrow. 46 degrees. At 11:20 KPNW. So how was your night last night? What did you do? Watch TV? Our next guest, one of the 15, probably had to drink some chamomile tea to unwind. Alan, out of curiosity, what time did you actually knock off and go to bed?
I was emotionally exhausted. I hit the hay about 9:30. I was literally just exhausted from the afternoon and early evening.
Let's talk about it. Of course, the top news story, unfortunate situation in Bethel, where apparently you had kind of, you and your son especially had kind of a first eye glance at what happened, the shooting last night. Talk about it.
Yeah, it was sort of surreal as I replay the whole situation. We live right there at the park. We literally live across the street, and and so the skate park is basically, I look out my door, I can see the skate park, and I can I went upstairs, and a little before 6 o'clock, there was 5 or 6 pops just pop, 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 pop. And, it's like, okay, I'm thinking to myself, my son was over at the park. He actually was hanging around the 16s earlier, about 10 minutes before the incident. And, knowing that my son is in that group of teens and young people, it just brings things closer to home that what could have been. And so when, there's a lot of things going on at the skate park. You can't be naive. Kids will be kids. They live next door to the guy that was a shooter. The shooter's house is next door to the skate park.
So when you hear the pops, what is your reaction? What do you do? Did you run out of the house to see where your son was?
Basically, you look out the window going, oh, and you're thinking, firecrackers, number one. And then number two, then things started to, I was dealing with my daughter. So I'm trying to, make sure, okay, I hear the pops, my wife, she's going to be leaving on an errand, and I'm trying to see where my son is at. Well, he was not over there. There wasn't really any activity besides what when these things got swarmed with, the cars, and they came in silent. So you didn't even hear any sirens. They just came in silent, and you basically...
okay, wait, hold up. Okay, so you hear the pops, you're trying to find your son. Talk about, when did he show up, and when did you see him that he was okay?
He showed up amidst when cars were flying in, and I saw him across, walking the path in the park, going towards the scene of the skate park. And I yelled at him to get over here now because he was at the basketball hoops. He left that group of kids 10 minutes before the shooting started. He walked over to the basketball hoops, which were just across where the rec building were in the swimming pool. That's where he walked to when the shots started. He turned around and saw one of the teens drop, or the young person drop, and a few of the others scatter. That's what he witnessed, and he was right when the pops happened. He was directly looking at there, and I literally, as a parent, your mind goes everywhere. It's like there could have been a chance that he was at that place right when they were arguing with the shooter. He was that close to it, Rob, and that's what really, as a parent, your heart just breaks for what was going on, and then you're meaning that what if there was a stray bullet, from the shooter, and it went directly into that play structure, and where my son was walking back. This is what startling.
A couple of things, Alan. So, are you saying that the persons that were shot were not adults, but they were teens? They're
a group of teens. What my son said, he was hanging out with them.
Okay, so a group of like older teens, or like 13.
Older teens. A couple older teens. He said what my son said. He didn't know their ages, but he said what looked to be in early 20s to mid-20s is what he stated.
Okay, and the shooter, now, do you know, you said that he lives in the neighborhood. Do you know, did you know him?
No, but know of him, because he's had dealings with being next door to the skate park. He's had dealings with groups of kids there since he lives right next door to it.
What kind of dealings?
Yeah. Well, my son said, he talks about, this gentleman said he did drugs, the shooter. He said he did drugs. They always seemed to be arguing. He always tended to be kind of glaring at the group, at the skate park. This is not just a one-day deal here. This is just something that has been ongoing since he lives right next to it.
So ongoing just with any random skaters that happen to be there? Or
absolutely.
Okay, so it wasn't just this particular group.
No, this group put him over the edge. This group is what got him to the point where he went and shot. That's basically it, because this has been an ongoing situation, mind you, throughout, because he lives next door.
So I've driven past that skate park for the last 5 years. And let me tell you, the kids over there, they kind of think they own the world, okay? I'm just being honest with you.
Okay, but that doesn't, that doesn't
doesn't justify it. No,
that's no justification for what happened.
But this guy apparently probably just got tired of it, and my son said.
Okay, but we don't know. I mean, you really don't know what occurred prior to the actual shooting.
Well, your son was a part of it. What did your son say?
Right, my son said they were just hanging out, just like normal. There's about 6 of them. 6, that were sitting there. My son was with them, and he just decided to take another teen with him to the basketball hoops. But they were there, and that's how he was able to say, yeah, such and such was there, such and such was there, and and he knows the gentleman who lives next door, knows of the gentleman that lives next door to the skate park.
I'm trying to recall if it was our correspondence where you were talking about how somebody was making fun of the shooter. Was that you?
Yeah, that was me. This is what was reported as well, and this is pretty much doesn't surprise me. The day before, there was, so many things going on over that park. So what was going on? The guy was arguing with his girlfriend. That was what was reported by you guys as well. That did occur. That was outside his house next to the skate park. Well, the kids, being kids, kind of rolled their eyes, or don't know what might have happened, but apparently it made this guy upset to the point where he felt he had to go back inside and do it. He was already dealing with something. My son said he might have been on drugs because he has been on drugs before. And the police have had dealings with this gentleman as well in the past. So this is nothing, this is something that you just go, wow, is this a Cops episode? Or this is just surreal. And you're trying to digest everything that's happening. You're shaking. My wife's kind of, trying to deal with my daughter and, making sure and I'm asking my son, what on earth was going on? You left 10 minutes prior to this incident.
Can I ask, did he see, because the way that investigators say that it rolled out was that the shooter allegedly had some sort of confrontation with the group first, then went back to his house, then apparently went back to the skate park and shot those 2 people. Did he see that initial altercation between the group of skaters and the man, the shooter?
He had left the group previous to that.
Okay, so he didn't see that.
Incident.
He didn't see the initial altercation either.
No, he was across the park, and that's when he was heading back to the skate park, and the pops happened, and he saw the kid drop and kids scatter. That's how he witnessed the
shooting.
Yeah.
All right, it hasn't been, it's just been over 12 hours, so I realize you're still having a hard time, kind of
digesting,
processing it out. But, that being said, here on out, at this point, with what's going on between your ears, thinking about what happened and, the fact that your kids play there, how does that make you feel about the neighbor? It kind of brings to light that this can happen anywhere. It's not just on the national news anymore.
The things that were spoken of, because they had our neighborhood on lockdown, and they had the Emerald Park pool on lockdown in the rec hall. There's some parents and folks over there saying, number one, they need to tear down that skate park. That's emotion speaking. A lot of parents were just saying, you know what, this is just, shut it down. My wife, they had the cars, the police cars, crossing the road right outside our driveway. So it was just. I guess
I'm asking you as far as your situation with your family.
Oh, my wife wants to move. She said, this is why I want to get out of this area. I'm tired of this skate park. I'm tired of, just people speeding through our street. So basically, my wife said, this is where he says, I want to get out of here. I want to move.
Alan, the thing that I couldn't get off of, I'm so glad that your son was okay.
Yeah.
Because that's
God. I'm still thinking how close that could have been.
Yeah.
Shoot. It just, as a parent, you're thinking, you know what? What a stray bullet would have hit my house? What if a stray bullet would have made it over to the basketball hoops? Don't know that. And that's what really frustrates me. But let me tell you, gentlemen, something. I'm not going to be the one on board going, oh, we need to ban guns, okay? The guy had some mental issues, apparently. But I'm not going to blame the person that had the gun. So let me get that back clear. And there's going to be a lot of that, okay?
Well, there's going to be a lot of communication
ridiculous.
between you and your kids, and it's just it sucks that you have to have that education. I mean, he should be learning this a completely different way. Alan, thank you for the time. Appreciate it.
All right, guys.
Hang in there. Alan Q, one of the 15 whose son kind of had a almost first-hand view of the shooting last night in Bethel. 641 News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Shopping for your next grill at Midgley's is easy and convenient. Unlike home improvement stores, a walk across Midgley's doesn't require a relay baton. We know all about grills, too. Just don't ask us about sandpaper or toilet seats. And you don't need to remember where you parked. Our customer-friendly lot is directly behind our store. Get your next grill at Midgley's. We're at 7th and Chambers in Eugene. Midgley's. Anywhere else, and you're just playing with fire. CCB 161946.
Are you dying to get away from it all? Well, stop by Three Rivers Casino Resort because we can make your getaway dreams a reality. Now through April 16th, you can earn entries to win a dream vacation in our Choose Your Cruise giveaway. Cruise winners will be drawn every hour from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Saturday, April 16th. Visit threeriverscasino.com to find out more. Then, we hope there ain't no mountain high enough to keep you from Three Rivers Casino Resort this May as we host the Supremes and the Drifters. Join us as we relive all your favorite classics on May 21st and 22nd in Florence. Tickets are only $14.99 and $19.99. Visit threeriverscasino.com to reserve your seats now. Come make some magic moments at Three Rivers Casino Resort because things are luckier here.
It's radio you can watch. The Wake Up Call with live video streaming from the Widmer Brothers studio every weekday morning from 6 a.m. to 9. Go to KPNW.com and click on the Wake Up Call streaming banner. The Wake Up Call and Widmer Brothers, the local guys.
Guys, if you've been using or wanting to try Viagra but are worried about the costs, we have great news. Now you can finally get real results at huge discounts with our Healthy Man alternative to the little blue pill. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get results for a fraction of the price? Call today and get 40 pills for only $99. Others cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us if you want real results at the lowest prices. Never pay $15 a pill for Viagra when you can get real results for less than $3 per pill. Call 800-601-8915 today and save over $500. You can have those breathtaking, toe-curling moments again and again. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Call right now and we'll rush you your supply delivered discreetly to your door. Just call 800-601-8915. That's 800-601-8915. Again, 800-601-8915.
See a problem on the commute? Be an official KPNW Wake Up Call Road Ranger today. Call 541-344-2424 and report it. Dakota Ring and Road Ranger Keep and Sombreros sold separately. The Road Ranger Network, exclusively on 1120 KPNW.
643 News Radio 1120 KPNW. Well, it's a case of out of sight, out of mind, but what's out of sight may end up costing Americans a lot. To talk a little bit about that this morning, he is a researcher with the Mercatus Institute. Mark Jaffe joins us on the Wake Up Call. He's also the principal consultant at Public Sector Credit Solutions, which is a research group that analyzes government bond credit lists. He joins us on the Wake Up Call this morning. Mark, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Bill.
All right. So when I said out of sight, out of mind, Puerto Rico just kind of sits out there, out in the Caribbean, and nobody really thinks a lot of it, even though it's an American territory, and essentially, for all intents and purposes, economically, that island is upside down, right?
That's true. Although I would say this is sort of an East Coast, West Coast thing, right? I mean, Hawaii is sort of our version of Puerto Rico, and that's sort of ironic because, as I discussed in the study, Hawaii and Puerto Rico both came into the United States in 1898. But the two went on totally different paths. Puerto Rico was kept as a territory, and Hawaii was brought into was put onto the statehood path. And Hawaii has just done economically a lot better than Puerto Rico, partially because of that kind of decision made by Congress many, many years ago.
Well, one of the problems is the way that the government there, the Commonwealth, was set up, allowing them to run up a ton of debt.
Yeah, and that turned out to be a translation problem. I mean, we've had state constitutions going back well over 100 years that have required balanced budgets. As you probably know, 49 out of the 50 states require some kind of budget balance. Often there are loopholes, but it definitely restrains government spending. Now, in Puerto Rico, Congress actually approved a Commonwealth Constitution that in English required a balanced budget, but when revenues was translated into Spanish, it meant revenues plus bond proceeds, money that you raise from issuing debt. And so really the typical state constitutional restriction that we've seen on borrowing hasn't really applied in Puerto Rico because of that translation issue.
So, in other words, they wanted to fund their debt, so they sold a bunch of bonds and continued to sell bonds until they got to where they're at today. For a population, what's the population of Puerto Rico right now?
It's about 3.5 million.
Okay, 3.5 million people. And what is the actual debt of Puerto Rico?
So the total debt of all governmental entities, including the Commonwealth, publicly owned corporations, and cities, is about $70 billion.
For 3 million people, that's an astounding number.
Yes, and we have to also remember that the per capita income in Puerto Rico is way below what it is in the rest of the United States. So it's even more astounding. I think it's less than $20,000.
Now, one of the things, I mean, that is keeping Puerto Rico kind of, if you will, in debt is the fact that the way that the treaty is set up is that if you're Puerto Rican, you can just come to the United States as a citizen and walk away from that particular country, meaning that, you start raising taxes high enough, people can just go, you know what, I'm going to Miami or I'm going to New York or wherever, right?
Yes, and it's the taxes are a part of it, but also just the relative level of economics. I mean, if you can just get a higher salary by moving to Orlando or New York City, there's a very strong incentive to do that, and a lot of people from Puerto Rico have.
All right, how much would the United States, I mean, considering that it is a territory and it's set up as differently as it is, if it were to just go completely insolvent, how much on the hook would the American taxpayer be, if on the hook at all?
Well, some of the advertising I've been seeing on cable TV about this is really sort of confusing the issue because of the discussion of a federal bailout. What's being discussed is the idea that Puerto Rico would be allowed to restructure its debt by essentially imposing lower payments on bondholders without them being necessarily able to go to court to litigate that. So it's not a bailout in the sense that the federal government would be sending money to Puerto Rico. The confusing thing is that a very large number of investors in the United States, individuals who normally have relatively high incomes and live across the country, buy Puerto Rico bonds because Puerto Rico bonds are triple tax exempt. So if you're, in a city like, for example, New York City that has local income tax, and then there's a state income tax, and then there's a federal income tax, the income you get from the interest on Puerto Rico bonds is exempt from all of those. So it's really attractive to a lot of investors, and they're all over the United States. So those folks who are actually U.S. taxpayers would be, as we say in the finance industry, taking a haircut.
Interesting. At what point does this end up getting to that tipping point? I mean, how much further can they go down the line before somewhere, somehow, somebody's going to have to do something? Because as I understand it, and I want you to answer that question, but just as kind of background, my understanding is they're not allowed to do any type of Chapter 9 restructuring, right?
Right. Well, first of all, I would say they are at the tipping point because last year and again in January, they did default on a small amount of debt. There was some debt that had fewer constitutional protections than the what's called the general obligation debt, which is what we typically think of as state bonds, but they had some other debt that didn't have those levels of constitutional protection. They defaulted on that. Now they've passed a law saying that they're essentially creating a debt moratorium. They're not going to pay anything. So really, it's really at this point that Congress has to step in to really avoid a pretty serious financial disaster, and it's one that's going to resonate into U.S. states and cities, because if people lose confidence in the municipal bond market, and Eugene, Oregon needs to borrow some money, it's going to be hard for investors to step up to that. Now, do you mind if I take on the question about Chapter 9 now?
Sure, go ahead.
So, yes, you're absolutely right that Chapter 9 of the of the Federal Bankruptcy Code, which regulates municipal bankruptcies, does not apply to Puerto Rico, and Puerto Rico is looking for that. Now, it's a little bit complicated because Chapter 9 in the United States does not apply to states. It only applies to cities, counties, and other kinds of governmental institutions. So in Puerto Rico, some of the debt is held by the Commonwealth, which is a state-like entity, I should say. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the debt is held by municipalities and by public corporations, such as the Electric Power Authority. Some of that debt could be brought under Chapter 9, but opponents argue that that's changing the rules in the middle of the game. I would say that, you're basically looking at a default one way or the other, and you might as well have it being controlled under a court-supervised process that tries to minimize the amount of litigation. Otherwise, you could have a situation like Argentina where they were fighting with creditors in court for 15 years after they had their default in 2002.
Why do I get the feeling that Puerto Rico is America's Greece?
Yes, I think the analogies are very strong. Although I don't think it's as big a part of the U.S. economy as Greece was of the Eurozone, and it doesn't really have as much debt as Greece did. So I think this is a more manageable problem. And the question right now is, do we have the political will in this country and in the House and Senate to be able to properly manage this problem, as opposed to kicking the can down the road, which is what the EU did in a number of cases.
Yeah, but do you think, considering here we're in the middle of an election year, it's not exactly what you would call a really sexy topic. Is this one of the things, though, that is going to be easily avoidable by our legislators in Washington?
Well, it's unusual because it's not receiving a lot of media coverage, and I thank you and compliment you for taking this issue seriously. Everyone's just talking about Trump and Cruz and Hillary and Bernie, so it's definitely going on in a vacuum. But I've been getting a lot of email from folks in Washington D.C. and they're all in. I mean, this House committee is meeting night and day on this issue right now, and I think the story is good. I mean, because I'm from an academic center, you really want to avoid commenting too much on specifics of the legislation. But what I'm seeing is an interesting compromise developing between Republicans who want to see a financial control board and Democrats who want to see some kind of Chapter 9 style debt relief. And if actually the administration, congressional Democrats and congressional Republicans can sort of put their heads together, you might actually see legislation move. And I think that really, conforms pretty well with what Paul Ryan wants to be doing at this point, because I think based on his speech yesterday, I think he wants to show that that he can get results, despite the fact that the presidential election is going on. So I know that he's assigned this to be a very high priority. So I'm cautiously optimistic that something can happen.
All right. Mark Jaffe is with the Mercatus Institute. He just recently, along with another, finished up a fairly in-depth report on the current situation in Puerto Rico. Quickly, give a website, because we're out of time here. Give a website if folks want to take a look at the work you've done on it.
Thanks, Bill. It's at mercatus.org.
All right, sounds good. Mark, thanks for being with us on the Wake Up Call.
Thank you.
You take care. Mark Jaffe, News Radio 1120 KPNW, where it is 6:55. Well, the interest-free for 3 event is going on right now at Sleep Train, where for the next 3 years, you'll get interest-free financing with no money down on top name brands like Tempur-Pedic and also the Beauty Rest Black Hybrid, or when you elevate your comfort with a movable base. It's on approved credit with up to 36 equal monthly payments required. You can also save up to $200 on Beauty Rest and Posturepedic mattress sets, 2 of Sleep Train's most popular. And you'll be sleeping better as soon as tonight with same-day delivery if you order by 2 p.m. So it's a great way to save. It's a great way to get a good night's sleep. And now is the time to do it, particularly if you're one of those folks who maybe has a little bit of a refund coming your way.
Sleep Train, interest-free for 3 event. There's just so many reasons, and I have a feeling that once you maybe have a week under your belt on top of your new mattress, you're going to send us a thank you note. Might be on a Post-it, but you're going to say, yeah, Sleep Train took care of me. I am sleeping like a baby. In Eugene, Springfield, Corvallis, and Salem, and tell them you're like this with a wake-up call.
When the sun comes out, the critters are up and moving. SM Gun Shop wants you to be ready. Get a head start on varmint season with huge savings on Black Hills 223 plus special wall-to-wall pricing. It's only at SM Gun Shop on River Road in Eugene, Lane County's most established gun store.
Sherry's invented Free Pie Wednesday because, well, we love pie. Sweet Montana cherry, Oregon Marionberry made with Northwest fruit, chocolate cream supreme, sour cream lemon pie made with real whipped cream, s'mores galore, and many more. That's why we've won over 25 gold medals at the National Pie Championships. Enjoy a free slice of your favorite Sherry's pie with dinner tonight from 4 to 10 at Sherry's Cafe and Pies.
I'm Gary Conley with today's Money Minute. That politics is inhabited by some outright liars is not news. However, more dangerous than lies to those who are not informed is truthiness. Truthiness, according to the online encyclopedia, Wikipedia, is when someone characterizes something as true while making an argument. Someone who claims to know that it's true because it just feels right, without regard to any evidence, logic, intellectual examination, or the facts. Truthiness was coined by the comedian Stephen Colbert in 2005 and is at the heart of many political arguments and assertions that, while not necessarily outright lies, are deceptive nonetheless. They're often made by those who claim some authority while trying to gain or hold power. Occupy Wall Street spouted truthiness, attacking those with outsized incomes as it sought to pit most of the rest of us against the entrenched power structure. Here's the nugget. The 1% has become the poster child for incomes that are distributed unevenly across the population. And while in a strict mathematical sense a 1% does exist, it's become a lightning rod of truthiness for the problems of inequality, thereby obscuring the real truth in a very manipulative sort of way and causing us to turn on one another instead of addressing our problems. I'm Gary Conley, and that's today's Money Minute.
When you think fishing or firearms, think Mazama.
Local, family-owned Mazama is your fishing headquarters with brands like G. Loomis, St. Croix, Shimano, Daiwa, and a variety of locally made products tailor-made for this region. Team Mazama is eager and knowledgeable.
Plus, they offer layaway on firearms and fishing gear.
Pick up your hunting and fishing license while you're there. Conveniently located on West 11th in the same parking lot as Lowe's. Get to Mazama and get hooked on the good life. When you think fishing or firearms, think Mazama.
Do you dance badly or hug in public? That's okay. You don't have to be perfect to be the perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care would love to put up with you. Call 1-888-200-4005 or visit adoptuskids.org for more information. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
We report, you decide. This is News Radio 1120 KPNW, Eugene, Springfield, USA.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. Could he go to jail this time? A Texas teenager who infamously avoided prison in a drunk driving crash that left 4 people dead is back in court this hour after he ran off to Mexico with his mother. Fox's Evan Brown has more live.
And Dave, this is Ethan Couch, who was sentenced by a juvenile court judge to probation for those killings after his lawyer argued he was a victim of a bad home environment due to his affluent yet aloof parents. The term affluenza was born from this case, but now after running to Mexico while on probation and turning 19 just this week, Couch could be sent to jail for up to 120 days before being made to finish his probation. He's due in court in Fort Worth this hour, Dave.
Evan, ISIS is praising online the attackers who killed 32 people in Brussels last month and hailing 2 brothers who were suicide bombers in the Paris deadly attacks as well. 39,000 Verizon workers are on strike from Massachusetts to Virginia. They walked off their landline and Fios jobs this morning after 8 months without a contract, upset over a pension freeze and outsourcing.
The other side of this happens to be Verizon, and they say that they have been trying to negotiate in good faith. They say they are just simply attempting to be and maintain a viable company.
Teresa Priola with Fox 5 TV at a New York picket line. Non-union Verizon employees are doing the striking workers' jobs, keeping the company's services going. A GoFundMe page set up to help the 3 daughters of a woman murdered in Seattle is up at almost $94,000. Melissa Corda set it up.
You get to a point where you just stop trying to understand because it's psychotic.
Ingrid Line's body parts were found in a recycling bin over the weekend. The man she met online and went on a date with Friday is jailed as a suspect. Remember Napster, where people downloaded free music? One of the founders, Sean Parker, is using some of his fortune to fight cancer, giving $250 million to get hundreds of scientists to share their research to speed up new drug treatments. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
If you've dreamed of owning an RV, let the RV Corral help make those dreams come true. The RV Corral is Eugene's largest Winnebago dealer for motorhomes and lightweight travel trailers. Over 200 new and pre-owned motorhomes, fifth wheels, travel trailers, and campers. All Class A and C motorhomes are on sale now. With local owners for 28 years and all local employees, the RV Corral will be there to help you make your RV dreams come true. Easy to find on Highway 99, 1 mile south of Beltline. Buy anywhere else, you'll pay too much.
Man, do I love card night. You ready, boys? You got a king?
Go, fish dad!
Oh, come on! This is WWE superstar Titus O'Neil. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
We were not in a buying mood last month. U.S. retail sales fell 0.3% unexpectedly. Despite that, stocks are rising pretty big again on Wall Street, where Fox Business Network's Nicole Petalides is live.
That's right, Dave. We saw a cautious consumer last month. Stocks right now are higher by 128 points on the Dow Jones Industrial Average at 17,849. The Nasdaq up 1 full percentage point, up 49 points. The S&P 500 gaining 13 points. We're seeing tech and financials leading the way. JP Morgan up more than 3% after its quarterly report. We're also watching Verizon. You mentioned it earlier. 40,000 workers walking off the job. That's down about 1%. And Fitbit up 6% after some positive comments from Morgan Stanley. Dave.
Thank you, Nicole. The price of oil is moving down this morning about $0.50, back under $42 a barrel as gas spikes up more than 2 cents today. AAA's national average for regular is now $2.08 a gallon. Is Nessie real? A robot using sonar technology is scanning the depths of Loch Ness in Scotland, 750 feet down in places, hoping to prove or disprove the legend.
Those behind this latest effort are confident of discovery. Operation Ground Truth, as it's called, has already disproved one theory, that of an even deeper crevice, big enough to fit the Phantom monster. But no matter what secrets materialize from these waters in the coming weeks, until her very existence is disproved, for many the legend of Nessie will simply continue.
That's Sky News' Adele Robinson. Some very smart kids are at the White House today. More than 130 invited to be part of a science fair. One of them is from Connecticut. She created a diagnostic test to detect the Ebola virus. That won Olivia Hollisey a $50,000 college scholarship at the Google Science Fair last year. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News Radio.
News Radio 1120 KPNW 7:05. Fairly pleasant day. A little breezy, partly cloudy. Slight chance of a shower today. 62 for the high. They're saving it for tomorrow. 90% chance of rain tonight. A little breezy, 10 to 20, low 42. And then showers and thunderstorms. Pretty much a complete washout, which means the sun will be out. It'll be by 1:30, a gorgeous day. And maybe then like a 5 o'clock shower.
Yeah, blue sky out there right now.
Yeah, looks good. Currently, we got 48 degrees. By the way, 1120kpnw@gmail.com. A way to kind of get in through the email form of communication on anything that you hear or something that you would like to hear. A new Match.com ad getting scrutinized in England. They show a picture of a woman with red hair, pale skin, apparently a bunch of freckles, and a slogan that says, "If you don't like your imperfections, someone else will." Wow. So apparently, according to Match.com, if you've got the pale skin, the red hair, and the freckles, which we learned yesterday,
is a good thing.
Something about, you should sit there and say that you're not perfect and that you are a malady. Of course, they
wonder how many redheads
took offense.
Yeah, took offense. I'm imagining quite a few.
I would think. Apparently, they announced they're going to take the ad down. Again, this is in England. Of course, nothing like that would happen over here. Everybody's so loving and cohesive. Coming up, Lee Sewell, speaking of loving and cohesive, we're going to talk to a candidate for state treasurer. That's coming up. That's what this hour looks like. Oh, yeah, the only thing we're not talking about so far is the news, and that's coming up, too.
Yeah, we'll have these stories in just a matter of moments. Of course, a shooting yesterday in Emerald Park last night. We'll have the details there. We'll also take a look at Oregon's employment numbers. We'll look at a couple of scams that are occurring. One has to do with folks trying to get your money on the phone. Another trying to get it by saying they're you. Those stories and more coming up, brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
News time 7:08.
Burrito Amigos salutes the letter T. In English, T usually denotes the voiceless alveolar plosive, as in the words tap and tame, or taco, torta, and tostada, which really aren't English words, but if you're going to use examples, they should be delicious. And if they start with a T and they come from Burrito Amigos, well, they are. Now you can have your tortas, tacos, and tostadas with chicken, shredded beef, carne asada, made with certified Black Angus, or adobada, an amazing, spicy, tasty grilled pork. And none of those selections have the letter T, but Carnitas does. So if you're a voiceless alveolar plosive purist, then you'll enjoy that in your Burrito Amigos torta, taco, and tostada. In case you're wondering, a torta is sort of a grilled sandwich made on torta bread. Tamales and taquitos are also delicious Burrito Amigos T words. So is tofu, which some people want in their burritos from Burrito Amigos. Burrito Amigos, they didn't invent the letter T, they just made examples using it more delicious. Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, working their way through the alphabet, one tasty treat at a time.
That's another home run for Oregon. Precision counts, whether it's a big game on the line or your quality of life.
I had excruciating pain in my cheek and jaw, a condition called trigeminal neuralgia. My doctor recommended Sacred Heart Gamma Knife Center.
The physicians used highly focused, precise radiation beams to target the nerve. Game over for Mary's pain in just a few weeks. If you have a brain tumor or episodes of severe facial pain, ask your primary doctor or specialist about Gamma Knife. Visit peacehealth.org/Gamma Knife to learn more.
I'm Jeremy. And I'm Chris with Home Comfort. When we say the one to call, the one means no matter what the problem. From security lighting, generator systems, panel changeouts, service upgrades, with technicians available 24/7.
Or HVAC, from routine cleanings to breakdowns. Home Comfort's locally supported by Mitsubishi Electric, so their Mitsubishi Electric factory-trained technicians will ready your house for any season.
Make one call to 541-345-2838.
Home Comfort, the one to call.
Now, this morning's wake-up call with the latest news from the Northwest and your neighborhood. On News Radio 1120, KPNW.
Good morning. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, featuring great breakfast burritos and fresh brewed, locally roasted coffee for a tasty start to your morning. Here's what's going on. 2 people are dead, another injured after a dispute at Emerald Park in Eugene. Police are still investigating, and the reports are sketchy. Right now, according to various reports, a man who had been in an altercation with his girlfriend started arguing with a nearby group of people near the skate park around 6 p.m. Tuesday night. Now, one report states that the group told the man they didn't want to fight, and the man left. But he did return a short time later, and he shot 2 members of the group. One was hit in the arm, another, according to one source, in the head. The latter died. From there, according to the Lane County Sheriff's Office, the man returned to his nearby home and was later found dead from a gunshot wound that was thought to have been self-inflicted. The investigation is continuing. Investigators have yet to release any names. Well, there's a reason that we continue to hear about scams that seem to be pretty obvious cons. It's because people keep falling for them. The Eugene Police Department says a number of people have been reporting receiving calls from Windows Microsoft employees. The bogus Windows employees call and start asking questions about whether the potential mark's computer is experiencing problems. When the person says yes, the scammer then obtains information to get remote access. Then they install malware on the computer, which mines that device for personal information, like bank account numbers, credit card information, and social security numbers. Some victims are also asked to scan a blank check to cover the charge of fixing the computer, which they do, and then their bank account is drained. If you receive a call like this or an email with essentially the same MO, it is a scam. If you get your power from Emerald's People's Utility District, your bill is going up May 1st. Power Resources Manager Kyle Rodman says the 4% rate hike is necessary to keep up with the rising cost of buying power.
Marvel Power Administration, we buy the bulk of our power from them, and they're the single largest expense item in our budget, and they increased our rates about 6% back in October. So a good portion of this, and to kind of balance out that cost increase, we can absorb some of it, but not all of it.
The increase affects all customer classes equally. For the average residential customer, the monthly bill increase will be about $4.65. A man who owned a coffee kiosk in the Wit is facing federal charges. Investigators believe Eric Scully, along with his mother Joan and girlfriend Kristen Livingston, were using the drive-thru as a front for running drugs while Eric Scully was laundering money. In documents filed in federal court, prosecutors claim the trio netted more than $1 million. Scully was the proprietor of Black Sheep Coffee on West 6th. Investigators say business documents show they rarely purchased coffee beans and were seldom open. They say Eric Scully was doing a brisk business with 3 separate local area pot gardens he was running, and he was harvesting around 750 pounds of marijuana every 8 weeks. Sources told law enforcement the kiosk was simply a front to launder drug money. Scully's accused of mailing pot around the country from coast to coast. Well, the U.S. Bureau of Land Management released its long-awaited plan for managing roughly 2.5 million acres of federal forest land in western Oregon, and the counties that rely on timber for revenue are not happy with it. The proposal released yesterday calls for 75% of the ONC lands to be protected in reserves for fish, water, and wildlife. The agency estimates, though, it'll provide for 278 board feet of timber to be harvested every year for cutting, up from the current 205 million. Now, that group of counties we referred to are simply fed up, and they say those numbers are not enough. After years of negotiating, begging, and hoping that federal overseers would abide by the ONC Act, which was a contract that stipulated harvest levels and the use of BLM lands, well, those counties say they're done. They're suing. According to Tony Hyde, the president of the Association of ONC Counties and a Columbia County commissioner, he says the wording of the act was very specific.
States that all the timberlands shall be managed for sustained yield production. And also it mandates a minimum harvest each year of 500 million board feet.
The BLM's plan is offering a lot less.
278 million board feet.
Hyde believes that's even doubtful a decade from now.
This locks up 75% of the lands in permanent reserve.
Counties receive a percentage of timber sales, funding roads, jails, law enforcement, schools, and other vital services, as well as providing jobs. Hyde says it's not all about cutting.
We're still looking at providing recovery for endangered species, maintaining clean water and fish habitat, and of course a wide range of recreational opportunities. And so this is not just about let's go clear cut the world, but we think that this is not a balanced plan.
Lane County commissioners recently voted to support the lawsuit against the BLM, adding $84,000 to aid in that particular suit. Oregon's employment numbers continue to improve.
We can now say that Oregon's unemployment is the lowest it's been in the last 40 years. The unemployment rate dropped to a record low of 4.5% in March. Now that's the lowest Oregon's unemployment rate has been since comparable records have been kept going back to 1976.
State employment economist Nick Bilachik says that's 0.5% lower than the national average of 5%, a feat that is something that hasn't happened since 1995.
Well, we added 3,900 jobs in March, which is about average for this streak of job gains that we've been seeing. And that followed revised gain of 7,400 jobs the month before.
Bilachik says that a number of sectors are leading the numbers.
Healthcare and social assistance, which added 1,400 jobs, wholesale trade, which added 1,300, and professional and business services, which added 1,200 jobs.
The tightening of Oregon's labor market is leading to rapidly rising wages. In March, the average wage was about $24.45 an hour. A year ago, it was $23.38 here in state. The Benton County Sheriff's Office suspended a ground search for a Philomath man who disappeared last week after leaving his home to run errands in Corvallis. The Sheriff's Office says their search for Kurt Braun is now transitioning into an investigation. Search and rescue crews have scoured over 4,000 miles of local roads. They haven't found any trace of Braun or his vehicle. An attorney for a woman accused of killing one daughter and slashing another in Cannon Beach says her client has attempted suicide in a Tillamook County jail. Attorney Lynn Morgan filed court papers saying that Jessica Smith harmed herself and was found by jail staff in a pool of blood March 30th. Smith was hospitalized and returned to the jail. She remains on suicide watch. Smith's lawyers are seeking to have their client admitted to a psychiatric facility, saying that she's unable to aid or assist in her own defense. Prosecutors, though, are saying that Smith is malingering and faking mental illness. Smith has pleaded not guilty to murder in the 2014 drowning of her toddler and not guilty to attempted murder in the slashing of her teenager. With nearly 2 million individual and joint forms expected to be filed this tax season here in Oregon, the Oregon Department of Revenue is dealing with not only a lot of paperwork, but with a lot of scammers. In particular, identity thieves, where people are using another person's name to receive a fraudulent refund.
In terms of the refunds that we've identified as fraudulently filed, we're talking about several thousand already this filing season. Obviously, there will be more coming in that final wave of returns that we expect to see.
The Department of Revenue's Bob Estabrook says that trying to nab the fraudsters is becoming a bigger part of the job at the DOR. Sometimes returns are flagged because of information from the IRS. Other times, it's a large disparity from a previous year that'll set off alarm bills at Revenue.
The thing that we're going to do is try and reach out to that taxpayer directly and identify, is this their legitimate return, or is this something that somebody else is filing and trying to get their refund?
All of that can and has been slowing down refunds.
If folks are legitimately entitled to a refund, we're going to make sure that they get that. It's not going to be adversely affected by a potential fraudulent filing on that account. Unfortunately, because the rate of fraud is as high as it is, we're having to look at a lot of returns this year for potential fraud.
Estabrook says many times a taxpayer's return is initially flagged as potentially fraudulent, but is later found to be legit. And the taxpayer never knows that they've been tagged. Well, an Oregon sheriff under investigation for meeting with those who occupied a national wildlife refuge has filed notice that he's suing the city of John Day. An attorney for Grant County Sheriff Glenn Palmer alleges that a dispatcher breached a contract by withholding information about the January 26th traffic stop that led to the shooting death of occupier Robert Lavoy Finicum. Palmer was traveling toward the roadblock, and the notice says the lack of information put his life in danger, especially since the dispatcher told officers that the sheriff was traveling with an occupier. Palmer's attorney, Benjamin Boyd, said the passenger was Jim Carpenter, the Grant County District Attorney. Both dispatcher Valerie Luttrell and John Day Police Chief Richard Gray accused Palmer of siding with occupiers. Palmer's tort notice represents his first public defense. Such a notice is required before filing a lawsuit against a public body. Senator Jeff Merkley of Oregon has become the first of Bernie Sanders' Senate colleagues to endorse his socialist presidential candidacy. In an op-ed piece in the New York Times and in an appearance on MSNBC's Morning Joe this morning, Merkley gave Sanders high marks for resisting trade treaties that Sanders says cost Americans jobs. Merkley said in the broadcast interview that the Vermont socialist senator has on many issues, quote, been out there leading, clearly a long time before he decided to run. McKenzie Surgery Center in Eugene is having its 5th annual Day of Giving, Saturday, April 30th.
It's a free day of surgery for people who are underinsured and uninsured in Eugene and outlying areas.
Bella Friedman with the McKenzie Surgery Center said that one day every year, 10 to 15 local surgeons volunteer to perform upwards of 25 surgeries. Local anesthesiologists and other medical staff also volunteer their time. Patients are referred either by going through Volunteers in Medicine in the clinic here in Eugene, or they're referred by their own physicians. Most cases are on a first-come, first-served basis. Patients are screened for eligibility, dealing with income, and also medical necessity. Most surgeries fall under anything that could be considered outpatient, from pediatric, dental, podiatry to general surgery. The surgery center is not a hospital, so major surgeries are not covered. At 7:22, this look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones. You're up to date, live and local from KPNW.
Wake Up Call Sports on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
The Memphis Grizzlies, injury-stricken as they are, dropped their 3rd straight game, 9 in the last 10, getting punched by the Clippers, 110-84. Dropped him to number 7 on the playoff hierarchy, tied with Dallas, and a full game down on the Portland Trailblazers, giving them a little breathing room. We'll see what's, left in the tank tonight, as Memphis, the only thing between the Golden State Warriors and a historical 73rd win that you might have heard about, happens tonight. Blazers have their final regular season game tonight against Denver. If things stay the same, the Blazers would have a first-round playoff series with the LA Clippers. Lakers will not make the playoffs, about 24 games off the pace. Their last game tonight against the Utah Jazz will mark the final time Kobe Bryant dons a Laker uniform. The 37-year-old will end a 20-year career that came with 5 NBA championships, appearances in 18 All-Star games, an 81-point performance, and ending up 3rd on the all-time scoring list for now, behind 2 gentlemen named Kareem and Karl. He's also in a one-man club, the 30,000-point, 6,000 assist, 6,000 rebound club. Oregon golfer Aaron Wise followed up his 63 at the Western Intercollegiate in Santa Cruz with a 4-under-66 to take a 1-stroke lead in the final round over Stanford's Maverick McNeely. Wise leads on the individual leaderboard, but Maverick has Stanford atop the team board. The Oregon Duck men's basketball team going to have a serious schedule next year. Oregon will have games against North Carolina, UConn, Wisconsin, and a game at Baylor. At home, they'll play UNLV, Alabama, and Boise State. CBS and Turner, speaking of college basketball, have 8 years left on their deal to cover the NCAA basketball tournament at about $770 million a year. Well, that is going to go upwards to over $1 billion a year, as they have an 8-year extension worth $8.8 billion. Wake Up Call Sports, brought to you by Max Muscle, your authority in sports nutrition since 1991, on Franklin across from Market of Choice in Eugene. News time, 7:24.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning. If you're headed out that door in the next few minutes or you're already out and about, we have mostly cloudy skies out there. A storm system last night with a cold front moved through, bringing showers, and even now we're tracking some light misty rain out there, but no real accumulation at this point. Temps right now are in the mid to upper 40s with light winds out of the southwest at 5 to 10. This afternoon we're looking at mostly cloudy skies dominating, and most of the day will actually stay dry as we're between the cold fronts and storm systems. Now highs this afternoon will be in the upper 50s to low 60s, but anytime after 6 p.m. the next stronger cold front will move in, bringing moderate to heavy showers back to the region this evening, and we will see winds kick up out of the south at 10 to 20, some gusts as high as 30 out there. Be prepared as the next storm system moves in tonight. Now as it carries over into your Thursday, we will see a few isolated showers as well as thunderstorms Thursday morning carrying into the afternoon. Some of them could be strong to severe, especially on the fact that it's the 1-year anniversary of the Lane Community College tornado. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation, the NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day.
I'm not a bodybuilder.
I am not an athlete.
I'm not into health clubs.
I do not eat junk food.
I am not a young man anymore.
I am exercising daily. I am feeling great. I am loving life.
I am Max Muscle. Max Muscle Sports Nutrition, Franklin Boulevard, Eugene.
This winter, we received more rainfall than in the past 75 years. Severe weather can cause damage to your home's foundation. Ramjack can fix that. Get your free in-home evaluation at ramjackwest.com.
CCB 146906.
Hi, everybody. This is Don Essig with today's Motivational Minute, sponsored by Eugene's #1 electrical contractor, Builders Electric. One of America's most successful actresses, Sandra Bullock, recently shared a very significant thought when she said, "I wish I could go back and tell myself to not worry so much. I wasted so much time with worry." And I believe her statement probably affects all of us and how much time we've spent in our lives worrying about a wide variety of things and situations. And as many others have said, nobody ever accomplished anything sitting around having a pity party about something probably won't happen anyhow. So quit worrying. Go out and do something active to eliminate it. It definitely won't be a waste of time. This is Don Essig with today's Motivational Minute. I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, have a positive day.
This Motivational Minute was brought to you by Builders Electric, providing honest, reliable, and positive contracting throughout the Willamette Valley since 1960. That's Builders Electric, CCB number 4296.
When you take the train, there's no telling what adventures await you. But that didn't stop us from speculating. Okay, Ben, you tell me what you do aboard Amtrak Cascades. I tell you how your seemingly innocuous decisions ultimately alter the course of your entire existence. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, on the train, do you A, order food, or B, get a drink?
Get a drink.
Nice. Coffee or beer?
Beer me.
Ooh, someone catches your eye. Say hello or find your seat?
Say hello.
She's a Beaver fan. I noticed you're wearing a duck hat.
Ooh.
Deal breaker or get her number?
Yeah, sure, get her number.
You get her digits. After 6 months of dating, you adopt a rescue dog and you name her Pork Chop. And 4 months later, you propose on the jumbo screen at the Civil War. She spills her drink on you. Boo. But says yes. Yay.
Whoa.
Yeah, want to know your kids' names? Amtrak Cascades. See what happens from Eugene to Portland for less than $20 one way. Start your adventure at amtrak.com/see what happens. Restrictions may apply.
With River Road Health Mart Pharmacy and their MedSync service, they're able to help you save time and money by coordinating all your prescriptions into one easy monthly pickup.
Managing all my medications didn't fit into my busy schedule, so my River Road Health Mart pharmacist coordinated all my prescriptions into one convenient pickup. Now I only have to make one trip per month. They will even deliver them to my home or work.
Visit River Road Health Mart Pharmacy at 884 River Road in Eugene today. For more information or to transfer your current prescriptions, visit online at pharmacyeugene.com. Health Mart, caring for you and about you.
The Wake Up Call. Wake Up Call. On 1120. KPNW.
News Radio 1120 KPNW. It is 728. Joining us on the Wake Up Call. Hey, you know, she's from Washington. Yakima, to be exact. Graduate of that school in Seattle. Lise Wheel joining us on the Wake Up Call. Hey, Lise.
Hey, well, I'm Bradford from West Valley High School.
Well, yeah, but then after that, you went to that school in Seattle. That just so you know, people around here just sometimes just a little bit kind of, it irritates them when you mention that school.
What school? UW?
Exactly. Yes, UW.
Oh, I taught at UW. I didn't go there.
I thought you went to UW.
No, I went out east for college.
Where did you go?
Well, I went to first of all, I graduated from West Valley High School, and then I went a year at Yakima Valley Community College, and then I did what everybody does. You go straight from Yakima Valley Community College to Columbia University. Doesn't everyone do that?
I think everybody does that.
Of course, that's a natural trick. And then from there to Harvard. Doesn't everyone do that?
Everybody does that.
Yeah, exactly. And then I taught at UW.
Okay, so that's all right then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Teaching there.
I'm glad we got that all settled.
Teaching there is fine.
Oh, okay.
Teaching there is fine. Going there, though, people have issues with that. Anyway.
Oh, okay. Well, glad we got all that worked out.
Nice to have you on the show. How's the book going?
Newsmakers is doing great, and now that the weather is getting better, you can take it out to the beach, the river, whatever.
Okay. And you've written what now? About a dozen different
that's
stories?
number 15, yeah.
Okay, so 15. Typically, in all honesty, how many, what's the most that you've ever sold of a particular book?
You know what? I don't know.
Oh, come on.
No, I don't know. I do know that a couple months ago, this was so nice, I came home and there was a dozen yellow roses, and I'm like, who's this from? This is nice. And I opened it up. It was from my publisher, and the card said, congratulations on 500,000 books sold total. Now, I don't know how the breakdown is,
Well, that's not bad.
No, but I don't know how it goes, like, over. So that, and I've been with them for 12 of my books. So, but I don't know how that breaks down to, per book. I have no idea.
Okay, the reason I bring this up, and I've been meaning to ask you, and I'm totally going off topic, but I've been meaning to ask you this.
We always do.
Yeah, I know. But I've been meaning to ask you this. There has been, off and on over the course of the years, not only musical artists, but also authors and the like, that do not like the idea of used bookstores or, like, for instance, Amazon, which will take books that people have, had, they want to get rid of them, and then they resell them without the actual authors or the folks that the creators receiving any kind of benefit from that. And my question to you is, I'm just curious, not only as an author, but also as an attorney, what's your take on that?
Well, I get it from both perspectives because, you work, your little buns off on coming up with the idea, working on the idea. It's not just the author; it's the publisher.
Right.
It's there's the publicist. There's so many people involved in the production of a book. There's just so many people. I can't even editors. Line editors. There's just a lot of people involved. So to get it to the point where it's at a used bookstore and it's sold for 50 cents, then none of those people that are in the industry reap any of that. On the other hand, so that's a business part of it. On the other hand, if it gets into the hands of somebody and they take it home, they buy it for a dime, and I've done it, especially when I was a student or a quarter or whatever.
Sure. And
they read it and they love it and they get enjoyment out of it. Well, great. So who am I to deny that? I've been there. I've done that. And then maybe that person will someday, grow up to be an author or a writer and will, write books themselves or will buy books at $25.99 or, will grow up to be a lawyer or a doctor or a teacher and be able to buy the books for $25.99. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully it all comes around,
Okay.
So when you can afford it or when you can do it, then buy it. But when you can't, then, go out and do that and have fun.
Well, then, all right, then taking this a step further, what about a situation like, say, BitTorrent, where you go online and you download the book without paying anything for it?
I don't know. I don't know. Well, first of all, I wouldn't do that just because I love the feeling of a book, but that's just me.
Yeah. Well, and I understand that.
I love the kind of, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to peruse in a bookstore and smell the bookstore, smell the books. I love all that.
There's a total sensory thing that goes along with a bookstore and buying books.
Right.
Totally understand it.
So for me, I just would never do that because, well, first, I just would never do that. I would just feel like that seems kind of cold. Just me. That's just totally me. So that's just me. When you said that, I just go, ugh. I can't even answer. That's just completely my visceral reaction.
Sure. But what I'm saying is from nope, she's gone. You there? Nope, gone. All right. Thanks, Lise. That was awkward.
And just so you know, it's not Lise doing that.
Yeah.
It's her people.
Anyway, 735 News Radio 1120 KPNW.
The Bloomberg Market Report, sponsored by Pacific Continental Bank, serving your business and community in Eugene for over 40 years.
This is Bloomberg Market Minute. Stocks are on the rise for a second straight day. The Dow up 124 points, the Nasdaq up 48, and the S&P up 13, helped along by improving Chinese trade data and better than expected results from J.P. Morgan Chase. Consumer spending may be losing some steam. The Commerce Department reports in March retail sales fell 0.3%. The decline in demand for cars led the way lower. Takeout car sales and other retailers saw a 0.2 rise, but that's half the forecast. One analyst tells Bloomberg until wages start to catch up to the improving job market, Americans will be keeping close tabs on their wallets. For the second month in a row, prices for goods and services before reaching consumers fell. The producer price index dropped to 10th when a 0.2 increase had been forecast. It's yet another example of the lack of pricing power for companies. Take out higher gasoline prices and food costs, and wholesale prices were still down. I'm Adrienne Mitchell, Bloomberg Radio.
Pacific Continental Bank is proud to call the Eugene-Springfield area home for more than 40 years. As your local banker, partner, and neighbor, we are committed to the health and sustainability of your business and our community. We know it takes more than a loan or deposit to help you succeed. It takes people who know you, your business, and your community. Who says we can't be more than a bank? Pacific Continental Bank, the right bank. Learn more at therightbank.com. Member FDIC.
Shopping for your next grill at Midgley's is easy and convenient. Unlike home improvement stores, a walk across Midgley's doesn't require a relay baton. We know all about grills, too. Just don't ask us about sandpaper or toilet seats. And you don't need to remember where you parked. Our customer-friendly lot is directly behind our store. Get your next grill at Midgley's. We're at 7th and Chambers in Eugene. Midgley's. Anywhere else, and you're just playing with fire.
CCB 161946. If you need to sell your home, listen up. Lars here to tell you about a real estate agent right in Lane County that takes the stress out of selling a home. I'm talking about Jeremy Parmenter of Keller Williams Realty. Jeremy has a marketing system for selling homes on a whole different level than anyone you're going to talk to in Lane County. Jeremy works with the top real estate developer in Oregon, and week after week, Jeremy attracts hundreds of buyers, which creates demand and helps your home sell fast and for top dollar. That's why Jeremy offers a home sale guarantee. If Jeremy can't sell your home at a price and deadline you agreed to, he'll buy it. Plus, it's risk-free. If he isn't doing his job after one day, you can fire him. But don't worry, you won't, because he outsells the average agent 8-1. If I needed to sell my home and lived in Lane County, I'd call up Jeremy. Call Jeremy today at 541-255-5685. That's 541-255-5685. And start packing.
Michelob Ultra is more than a superior light beer. It's taking in all life has to offer, like catching a wave or biking a long trail. And when you're done, you reach for a cold Michelob Ultra. Fewer carbs, fewer calories, more to look forward to. Michelob Ultra. Long live the ultra life. Enjoy responsibly. Michelob Ultra Light Beer, 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, 0.6 grams protein, and 0 grams fat per 12-ounce serving. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning to you and yours. We have a little bit of light misty rain off and on out there. It's left over from last night's cold front and storm system that brought showers to the area. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies. Temps right now are in the mid to upper 40s with light winds out of the southwest at 5 to 10. Now, most of your day will actually stay dry as we'll be between the storm systems and cold fronts, but we'll still see mostly cloudy skies dominating into the afternoon. Highs look to be in the upper 50s to low 60s. Late in the the afternoon, winds will pick up out of the south at 10 to 20. A few gusts could be as high as 30 along Interstate 5 as the next storm system rolls in tonight. That'll happen sometime between about 6 and 8 p.m. We could see moderate to heavy showers. And as the system continues to work its way through, we're going to see a chance of thunderstorms developing late tonight into your Thursday. Now, keep in mind, it is the one-year anniversary on Thursday of the Lane Community College tornado, so we're keeping a very close eye on this developing situation. But at this point, it looks like we won't get hot enough to see a threat of severe weather, but we're still going to keep a close eye on it for you just in case. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation in the NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day and you stay dry.
Local news, local people, Holloway in London, and the wake-up call.
I want you to get up now.
On News Radio 1120 KPNW.
News Radio 1120 KPNW. All the fears of bad weather this morning. Right now, kind of nice, at least in the Eugene-Springfield area. Thanks for being with us. Well, it's election season, and it's time to introduce you to a candidate you've probably never heard of. Not to say that he isn't trying to be heard of, but he also happens to be running for one of those offices that's not exactly as sexy as the Secretary of State or Governor. It is Jeff Goodman. He is running for State Treasurer, and he joins us on the Wake Up Call. Jeff, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, it is definitely our pleasure to have you here. Well, before we get into why you're running for state treasurer, let's learn a little bit about your background. From where do you come and what are you doing?
You bet. I am a second-generation Oregonian. My mother grew up in Silverton. I grew up in the Portland area. I went to school in California with a BA in economics, MBA in the University of Pennsylvania Wharton School of Business. Returned to Oregon. That was a very conscious choice that I made. I had opportunities to go elsewhere, but said this is where I want to be. Worked in a variety of positions, including several jobs where I was the treasurer of the company, and have been actively engaged in the community, and then 2 terms on the Lake Oswego City Council, where my mantra has been live within our means.
Okay. And from there, you want to become a state treasurer. What was that tipping point that made you decide, all right, this is in my wheelhouse, this is something I think I want to do, and this is something I need to do? What was the tipping point that led to that decision?
Well, there were 2 items. One, the position is open. Our current treasurer, Ted Wheeler, is term limited out and is a candidate for mayor in the city of Portland. And secondly, as I look back on the arc of my life, nobody is born or wakes up when they're 10 years old and says, I want to be the state treasurer of Oregon.
A good point.
But when I looked, as I said, when I look on my life and I say, gosh, my education, my business experience, my volunteer experience, my elected experience means that everything in hindsight has prepared me to become Oregon's next treasurer, because of that breadth and depth of experience in treasury matters, financial matters.
All right. So among the different things that the treasurer does, what is it that you look at and say, okay, this is where I really can apply my expertise?
Certainly. There are 2 areas that I can apply that expertise. Number 1 is on the investment side. The state has $90 billion, and that is with a B, of investable assets. About 68 of that is PERS related, and it has several $1 billion in debt, where we always want to make sure we're getting the best interest rate possible on the debt that is issued. You want to make sure that somebody who is serving in the treasurer's position has an understanding of the financial industry, all the language, all the jargon, and secondly, also has an understanding of how it works in Oregon. Oregon is pretty unique in terms of some of its income streams with respect to property taxes in particular. You want somebody with an extended and a long understanding of how all that works. And so I can bring that lifetime of experience to bear on these questions. So when you're dealing with, for example, the Wall Street bankers, they're not going to be pulling the wool over my eyes, because this is a business that I have been in and I understand.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about the investments, and in particular, you brought up PERS and the unfunded PERS liabilities. You know, I mean, the expectations on those, investments. They keep saying they guarantee a certain return, even though the returns, I think the last that I looked is somewhere around 2.3 or 2.4%. And I mean, what can you as treasurer actually do about that?
Well, the challenge with PERS, and I mean, I don't want to try and sugarcoat and give any happy talk on this. The challenge on PERS is that our Oregon State Supreme Court has ruled about what the state can or cannot do.
Right.
There was the legislative package that I know that you've spoken about on several occasions, and the Supreme Court said that most of that is not constitutional. So we have a situation where we have benefits which are locked in; those are guaranteed. Those that have been previously earned, and there's only two ways of funding it. One is through the investment earnings, and one is through contributions from all the various local governments. The bad news here is, with respect to what has been adjudicated, is that every government in the state of Oregon is going to see increases in their contribution requirements beginning in 2017-18, going forward for the next 6-year period. We're going to count on doing well on our investments, but we've pushed that just about as far as we can. That doesn't mean there aren't things that we can do to mitigate this, but we have a very difficult challenge that should not be ignored, which unfortunately the legislature in its last session, they had some extra money which they decided to spend on different items. They said rather than spending it, they should have been saying, hey, we've got a big problem coming, we should set this money aside for PERS. Instead, they chose to save it. So one of the first things that I want to advocate for is, I'll call it stop doing stupid things.
Okay, so you're advocating to stop do stupid things, but as state treasurer, what kind of things can you actually implement that will, help to mitigate at least some of these, expenses that are coming up in terms of PERS?
The actual work of the treasurer on that, there are constraints, at least for the next 6-year period. Going forward, there's things we can do, but on the state side, where the treasurer gives the report every 2 years in terms of what the capacity of the state is in terms of funding, instead of having that capacity, use that capacity toward funding the PERS obligations. The final say always stands with the legislature and then signing off by the governor. The treasurer will have a big voice at the table, but in terms of actually the treasurer being able to say, I'm going to do this to directly impact PERS, there's not a lot of wiggle room on that.
What do you think about the investments that the state is currently making and the way that those investments are being made? Do you think that pretty much they're solid and the return that they're getting is reasonable, or do you have criticisms with that?
On the investment side, I have expressed a criticism of the Oregon Growth Board. Now, this is something separate from PERS. The Oregon Growth Board gets money from the lottery funds. They're supposed to be invested on behalf of the schools in the School Stability Fund. Some of those monies have been invested in private equity, startup companies, and the rate of return over the last 17 years has been 2.5%. That's a terrible rate of return for high-risk investments. High risk means high return, low risk means low return. We've got the worst possible combination there with high risk, low return. And my opponent in this race thinks we're doing just fine with that, and I completely disagree with it, and I've written about that and publicly.
Okay. You said there's a couple of things. We've discussed PERS. What's another issue that you have would have more of a direct hand in?
Certainly. The treasurer is one of the 3 state officials that serves on the state land board, along with the Secretary of State and the governor. One of the issues that's working its way through right now is a decision to sell the Elliott State Forest because the management of that is not meeting its state obligations to provide funding for our schools. And it's going to be an auction process. But the process they put forward has said, well, we're already going to figure out what the price is without actually going to an auction. When you and I hear the word auction, we generally think of somebody up front talking very, very fast, sort of like what I was just doing, except much, much faster. And then it goes for the highest price in a very public, open, transparent manner. That's not the process that's being proposed for the Elliott State Forest, and I will do all I can to make sure that we maximize the value on that proposed process.
Jeff Goodman joining us on the Wake Up Call. By the way, his last name is spelled Gudman. Jeff Goodman.
Yes, that's correct.
On the Wake Up Call with us this morning. What do you think about Ted Wheeler's reign as treasurer? I mean, talk a little bit about it. Do you think that he has done a reasonable job as treasurer, or do you have some criticisms with what he has done?
I think he has done a reasonable job, but yes, I do have some criticisms. One of which is the retirement program that was adopted, that he advocated for and adopted by the legislature. One of the challenges of that program is that there is a high potential, not a certainty, but a high potential that it's going to, anybody participating in that program, which all the businesses are going to have to do so if they don't offer a program otherwise on their own, to get sucked into the federal government program called ERISA, the Employee Retirement Income Security Act from a few decades ago. The administrative nightmare of getting sucked into that would be terrible, along with the liabilities and the costs. I would want, and this is something that I would do on my very first day in office, I would want to be sitting down with the attorneys and say, we need to get a letter from the federal government absolutely guaranteeing that we are not going to be sucked into ERISA. That should be done before we start going out with this program. The current treasurer's office and the governor's office are saying, well, we're working with the Obama administration and the Department of Labor to get a carve-out, but they don't have it in writing yet. I would not want to proceed. That's a criticism I have. I would not want to proceed unless you have that guaranteed.
Well, what is the hazard if we end up getting sucked into it?
The challenges of getting sucked into ERISA are that the employers takes on enormous liability with respect to the operation of the program and the delivering of the retirement benefits that are in that. And for a small business that's struggling, as it is, to just make sure they're providing payroll, providing the services to their customers, this could be a legal nightmare that could go on for years.
We're just about out of time. Jeff, for folks that are interested more in your campaign, what you stand for, I know you've got a website. Why don't you go ahead and hawk that and talk about any appearances you might have down in the Lane County area?
My website is www.jeffgudman.org. Very straightforward, just jeffgoodman.org. I don't have my calendar in front of me. My campaign manager handles my schedule for me, but I do have been and will continue to be, not only in the Eugene area, but all over the state of Oregon, pitching my message as to why I'm the most qualified with depth and breadth of experience to become Oregon's next treasurer.
All right. Well, if you make your way down here, make sure that you throw a line out to us. We'd love to have you in the studio.
I would enjoy doing that for an extended conversation.
All right. Sounds good. Jeff, thanks for being with us on the Wake Up Call.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. Jeff Goodman, he is running for state treasurer. Again, his last name spelled Gudman. It's 7:53 News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Whether it's new or recycled office furniture, Oregon's most respected office furniture dealer is Office Furniture Direct in Portland, selling furniture throughout the state. Office Furniture Direct has clients up and down I-5 and is making trips into Eugene every month and can be your source for the best price and finest installation. Save money on quality office furniture at Office Furniture Direct at ofd-pdx.com.
All direct hit, all direct fit. Office Furniture Direct.
When the sun comes out, the critters are up and moving. SM Gun Shop wants you to be ready. Get a head start on varmint season with huge savings on Black Hills 223 plus special wall-to-wall pricing. It's only at SM Gun Shop on River Road in Eugene, Lane County's most established gun store.
Hi, I'm Carl Deichler, the CEO of Beachbody, and I'm here to tell you about an amazing new way you can start losing weight for free right now. You've probably seen our workout DVDs on TV like P90X, Insanity, and 21 Day Fix. We just launched a beta trial of our new digital video platform, Beachbody On Demand. So while we're testing out this new digital video service, I'm inviting you to use it for free for 30 days. That means you can lose 10 pounds, 20 pounds, even 30 pounds without paying a dime. Text the word SHAPE to 313131, and you can do 30 days of P90X, Insanity, or any of over 400 workouts for free. Now here's the catch. In return, all I ask is you let us know what you think of the service so we can make Beachbody On Demand the best fitness and weight loss site ever created. Just text SHAPE to 313131 and get started for free right now. Again, text SHAPE to 313131.
Message and data rates may apply. Membership fees apply after 30-day trial. Cancel anytime.
Holloway in London, your infomaniacs on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
I'm Gary Conley with today's Money Minute. That politics is inhabited by some outright liars is not news. However, more dangerous than lies to those who are not informed is truthiness. Truthiness, according to the online encyclopedia Wikipedia, is when someone characterizes something as true while making an argument. Someone who claims to know that it's true because it just feels right, without regard to any evidence, logic, intellectual examination, or the facts. Truthiness was coined by the comedian Stephen Colbert in 2005 and is at the heart of many political arguments and assertions that, while not necessarily outright lies, are deceptive nonetheless. They're often made by those who claim some authority while trying to gain or hold power. Occupy Wall Street spouted truthiness, attacking those with outsized incomes, as it sought to pit most of the rest of us against the entrenched power structure. Here's the nugget. The 1% has become the poster child for incomes that are distributed unevenly across the population. And while in a strict mathematical sense a 1% does exist, it's become a lightning rod of truthiness for the problems of inequality, thereby obscuring the real truth in a very manipulative sort of way and causing us to turn on one another instead of addressing our problems. I'm Gary Conley, and that's today's Money Minute.
Who doesn't want a shiny new electronic device? Sure, back home there's a garage or a basement full of old electronics that we don't talk about. But old electronics aren't garbage, and they're not useless. They're full of parts and materials that can be recycled into new electronics or donated to some wonderful causes. That flip phone and old computer can still live on. Recycling electronics is the green thing to do. It's the right thing to do, and it's so easy. Log on to greenergadgets.org and enter your zip code to find the recycling center nearest you.
We're all part of your community.
We all play a role in keeping our community safe. So protect your everyday.
If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities.
The Bloomberg Market Report, sponsored by Pacific Continental Bank, serving your business and community in Eugene for over 40 years.
Bloomberg Market Minute. Wall Street is looking to Asia and New York for inspiration. The Dow up 101 points, the Nasdaq up 47, and the S&P up 10, as investors cheer a jump in China's exports and better-than-expected quarterly results from J.P. Morgan Chase. Chase shares are jumping 3%. Teen clothing retailer American Apparel is looking to reboot. The chain, which has been struggling, wants to revamp its production process and will cut about 500 jobs. The LA Times reports the plan is to outsource the making of its clothes to another U.S. manufacturer. The retailer's been trying to move forward from the ouster of its controversial founder. If you're planning a driving vacation this summer, you'll have some extra cash to spend on souvenirs. Summer drivers will enjoy the cheapest gas in 12 years as prices stall just above $2 a gallon. On average, gas is now almost 60 cents a gallon below last summer. I'm Adrienne Mitchell, Bloomberg Radio.
Free speech is facing a new challenge from a cabal of 17 attorneys general from various states around America. I'm Lars Larson with the Northwest Report's commentary in just a moment. Have you ever thought about all the money you spend at the pharmacy buying a shaver, and it's just a cheap piece of plastic? Harry's.com was started by two guys passionate about creating a better shaving experience. They bought a blade factory in Germany. They turn out the best blades, and the starter kit, $15, and it's delivered to your house, and delivery is free. Go to Harry's.com right now. Enter my code name Lars in the promo box. $5 off your first order. Enter my code name Lars for $5 off your first order. That's Harry's.com. Change the way you shave forever. It's hard to imagine free speech being made criminal in America, but it seems there are 17 attorneys general from around America who want to do exactly that. You see, they've banded together and announced that they'll use legal mechanisms to go after anybody who engages in skepticism about global warming. You know, the tired-out theories no longer backed by real facts that were used by the likes of Al Gore to make hundreds of millions of dollars. The same theories that have been used to push governments to put limits on the way we generate energy and to put the coal business out of business. Yeah, that kind of thing. And any of us who engage in free speech, like the Competitive Enterprise Institute or even the Lars Larson Show, could be brought under legal action for simply engaging in free speech. For Northwest Reports, I'm Lars Larson.
Depend on us for breaking news from the local neighborhood to the global one. We are News Radio 1120 KPNW, Eugene, Springfield.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. They're feeling it. New York Transit Union workers backing Bernie Sanders 6 days before the next primary.
Together, we are going to end these disastrous trade agreements that have cost us millions of good-paying jobs.
Sanders has also picked up his first endorsement from a fellow senator, Democrat Jeff Merkley from Oregon. Now, to be outdone, Hillary Clinton's getting an endorsement of her own from an immigrant rights group in New York. While next hour, she'll address Al Sharpton's organization. Fox's Gernal Scott's there live in New York City.
Dave, Hillary Clinton comes to this National Action Network convention not only with a double-digit lead over Bernie Sanders in New York, but with a solid record of support from the black community. It's helped her dominate the South in prior primaries. Today, she hopes to hit hard on key African-American issues, such as criminal justice reform and funding black college education. Her remarks at noon come about 24 hours before Sanders speaks to this same group tomorrow, Dave.
Gernal, from Virginia up to Massachusetts, Verizon workers are on strike, and Fox's Tanya J. Powers was just out at a picket line in New York City.
Right here, Dave, they're chanting right here on the sidewalk. What do we want? Contracts. When do we want them? Now. I've been talking to striking Verizon workers out here on this picket line in Herald Square. They've been working without a contract since August. Many of them tell me the main sticking points, one of them over pension benefits, and specifically the freezing of those benefits. Another issue, health benefits. They tell me they are willing to stay out here until this contract issue is settled, Dave.
And Tanya, Verizon's using non-union employees to do their jobs to keep the service going on the landlines. There's another sign of a less than robust economy. Retail sales dropped 0.3% last month as Americans bought fewer cars and clothes and dined out less. But on Wall Street, stocks are rising. The Dow is up 107 points. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
This tip of the week brought to you by Neurospine Institute.
An unhealthy spine often starts with bad habits. Poor movement patterns and posture can damage the spine or throw it out of alignment. Over time, these bad habits can injure lumbar discs or cause them to wear out prematurely. The physicians at Neurospine Institute are experts in diagnosing painful back problems. They'll work closely with your primary care or referring physician to ensure the best care and treatment for your unique situation. Our team of neurosurgeons, pain management specialists, and physical therapists will evaluate your back problem and develop a treatment plan and help you get your life back.
Are you living with chronic pain? The specialists at Neurospine Institute can diagnose the problem and develop a personalized treatment plan to address your symptoms. Their comprehensive services include clinical and surgical procedures, sports medicine, physical therapy, medical imaging, and pain management. Neurospine Institute's medical professionals will work closely with your primary care or referring physician to ensure that you receive the best care and treatment. They serve all of Western Oregon with 2 locations, the main campus in Eugene and their Roseburg clinic. Visit neurospinellc.com today and get your life back.
Less than a week before the next primary in New York, polls give Donald Trump a 30-plus point lead in the Republican race, but he keeps railing against the nominating process as rigged and dirty.
But the RNC is firing back. The chairman said on Twitter, quote, nomination process known for a year and beyond. It's the responsibility of the campaigns to understand it. Complaints now, Give us all a break.
Fox's Kristen Fisher. Ted Cruz has been calling Trump a bully and a sore loser. The so-called affluenza teens in court in Texas. Ethan Couch could get jail time this time for skipping probation, going to Mexico. He infamously avoided prison in a deadly drunk driving case. His lawyer argued he was spoiled by his parents into irresponsibility. The NBA's regular season ends tonight with two games that are big for different reasons. In L.A., it's the end of the Kobe Bryant era, his last game before retiring with the Lakers. Then there's the Warriors finale, a perhaps storybook ending. Fox's Jared Max will be at the game and now live in the Bay Area.
Dave, $17,000 for a ticket to an NBA regular season game with no bearing on the playoffs? The cost to witness potential sports history is steep, but no team has done what the Golden State Warriors are in position to do. Sure, the defending champs have already secured the league's best record and home court advantage through the playoffs. They're favored to win the title again. But one unique title the Warriors have spent the first 81 games this season trying to write can be etched into the record books tonight. First team ever to win 73 games in the regular season. The Warriors will celebrate later tonight if they can defeat the Memphis Grizzlies here in Oakland, where according to StubHub, a best deal for tickets is in row BB VIP courtside for only $3,475, opposed to $17,000 to sit in row AA. Dave?
All right, thank you, Jared. Now turning to baseball, the Baltimore Orioles are 7-0, the best start for that team since moving to Baltimore. Atlanta and Minnesota, though, they're 0-7. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News Radio.
KPNW, welcome into hour number 3, 8:05. If you're keeping track, scoring along at home. Partly cloudy and breezy today. High of about 62, 90% chance of rain tonight. Winds 10 to 20. Overnight low of 42. Showers, 100%. Thunderstorms possible coming up tomorrow. 50 degrees at 11:20 KPNW. By the way, Ben Affleck, pretty much, I think the thing that I got from Bill's review of Batman versus Superman was that he was like the only redeeming quality. Apparently other people in power shared that view. He's going to direct and star in the standalone Batman movie coming up. So if you haven't seen it, if you have seen it, whatever you thought of Ben, you shall see more of Ben.
In a cowl.
As the Cape Crusader.
In a cape. So, that's it.
At least he doesn't talk like this.
No. I think the way that they handled that was great.
It was great.
Little voice processing device. Okay, so, Powerball. Did you know that Powerball is going to be worth $1 gazillion?
184.
Gazillion dollars. $184 gazillion. That's $1 million, which I think is kind of like a gazillion. Assuming that a gazillion exists. Anyway, still, it's a bunch of money. And if you were to win that, you might be happy. You might say to yourself, you know what? I'm going to go out and get myself a Happy Meal.
And maybe take us to lunch.
Yeah, and maybe take us out for Happy Meals
tickets
with you so that we can get the little crappy toy. All right, that said, we're going to give away 2 Powerball tickets for tonight's drawing to 1 lucky listener. Along with that, we're going to throw in a couple of Burrito Amigos burritos. We've got a breakfast burrito and a free basic or amigo burrito. So you got a couple of little certificates there. Save you a little money. Let you get out there and get yourself some Burrito Amigos awesome goodness. I got to see Larry yesterday. He says hi. That said, all right, so here's how we're going to give it away. First person, if you have not won in the last 30 days, all right, you're eligible. So if you've won in the last 30 days, you got to hold out on this. 541-485-5769. Our last guest on the Wake Up Call is running for a particular state office. Which one is it? We'll see if you were paying attention. Hey, you never know.
KPNW, good morning.
Hi.
What was the question?
You weren't paying attention.
I was dialing a telephone. I'm so sorry.
Okay, the question was, our last guest was running for a particular office. What was it?
Oh, I can't answer that one because I just tuned in. I'm sorry.
Thanks. See, Rob?
KPNW, good morning.
So easy. Hi, what do you think the answer is?
That would be treasurer.
That would be right. Who's this?
This is Jeff.
Jeff, congratulations. I got a couple of Powerball tickets for you, which is going to be worth $184 million if these particular tickets match with the numbers. And we've got a couple of burritos for you.
Outstanding.
Right, and so you're probably saying to yourself, who needs the Powerball? I get a burrito. Anyway, that said, we're going to have you hang on the line here a second, and we're going to get some information from you. I appreciate you listening.
Jeff doing his Batman impression.
Yeah.
8:09, news coming up next.
A tasty meal can make your day. A solid breakfast puts a good spin on things at the beginning of the day. A great meal in the evening can usually salvage a lousy day. Burrito Amigos can definitely cover the bases and be first in rotation or back cleanup. Fast and hot, Burrito Amigos breakfast burritos are fresh and tasty. You choose the meat. The bacon burritos have 2 types of bacon. The Machaca burritos are made from certified Black Angus. Or get tasty and zesty chorizo, link sausage, huevos ranchero made with green salsa, or go meatless. On the back end of the day, let Burrito Amigos do the cooking while you enjoy other great items off the menu like quesadillas, tostadas, tamales, wet burritos, even something more unique like lengua burritos or Mexican cheesesteak burritos. Let Burrito Amigos be the beginning of a great day or the salvation to a bad one. Smiles all around from Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones in Eugene and Springfield. I'm Bill London, and I approve all the breakfast burritos and about half of the rest of the menu. The other half I haven't eaten. Yeah.
Climb aboard Amtrak Cascades from Eugene to Portland for less than $20 one way. Start your adventure at Amtrak.com/see what happens.
Hi, this is Bill London, inviting you to join me for another Thirsty Thursday. Coming up on the 21st, we're going to be at Sam's on Wilson in Eugene. It's going to be a chance for you to not only throw back a tasty beer or two, but also qualify to win season passes to the Cuthbert Amphitheater during their big concert series. You'll also have a chance to win Counting Crows with Rob Thomas tickets right there on site. We'll be giving stuff away every 15 minutes. It's coming up on the 21st at Sam's on Wilson, a Thirsty Thursday from your friends here at KPNW.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared. I feel like I'm choking.
Prevent your child's next asthma attack. Visit www.noattacks.org or call your doctor, because even one attack is one too many.
I feel like a fish with no water.
Brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
This is News Radio 1120 KPNW. And we've got the local story of the morning wake-up call.
Good morning. This look at the news is brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, featuring great breakfast burritos and fresh brewed, locally roasted coffee for a tasty start to your morning. Here's what's going on. 2 people are dead, another injured after a dispute at Emerald Park in Eugene. Police are still investigating, and the reports are somewhat sketchy. But at this point, according to various reports, a man who had been in an altercation with his girlfriend ended up in an argument with a nearby group of people at the skate park around 6 p.m. Tuesday evening. Now, apparently, this individual has had run-ins and confrontations with those that hang out at the skate park in the past. One report states that the group told the man they didn't want to fight and that he left. Well, the man returned a short time later, and he shot 2 members of the group. One was hit in the arm, another in the head. The latter died. From there, according to the Lane County Sheriff's Office, the man returned to his nearby home. He was later found dead from a gunshot wound that was thought to be self-inflicted. The investigation continues. Investigators have yet to release any names. Well, there is a reason we continue to hear about scams that seem to be very obvious cons. It's because people keep falling for them. The Eugene Police Department says a number of people have been reporting receiving calls from Microsoft Windows employees. The bogus employees call and begin to ask questions about whether the potential Mark's computer is experiencing problems, which, of course, most people say they do because they're Microsoft. If the person says yes, the scammer then obtains remote access, installs malware, and then mines that computer for personal information, like bank accounts, credit card information, and social security numbers. Some victims are also asked to scan a blank check to cover the charge of fixing the computer. What could be the problem with that? If you receive a call like this or an email with essentially the same MO, guess what? It's a scam. If you get your power from Emerald People's Utility District, your bill's going up in May. Power Resources Manager Kyle Rodman says the 4% rate hike is necessary to keep up with the rising costs of purchasing power.
Marvel Power Administration, we buy the bulk of our power from them, and they're the single largest expense item in our budget, and they increased our rates about 6% back in October. So a good portion of this, and to kind of balance out that cost increase, we can absorb some of it, but not all of it.
The increase affects all customer classes equally. The average residential customer is going to be paying an extra $465 a month. A man who owned a coffee kiosk in the Wit is facing federal charges. Investigators believe Eric Scully, along with his mother Joan and girlfriend Kristen Livingston, were using the drive-thru as a front for running drugs. Well, Eric Scully was using it to launder money. In documents filed in federal court, prosecutors claim the trio netted more than $1 million. Scully was the proprietor of Black Sheep Coffee on West 6th. Investigators say business documents show they rarely ever purchased coffee beans and they were seldom open. They say Eric Scully was doing a brisk business with 3 separate local area pot gardens and was harvesting around 750 pounds of marijuana every 8 weeks. That's a lot of pot. Sources told law enforcement the kiosk was simply a front to launder drug money. Scully's also accused of taking some of that marijuana and mailing it around the country. That's illegal. The U.S. Bureau of Land Management released its long-awaited plan for managing roughly 2.5 million acres of federal forest land in western Oregon, and the counties that rely on timber for revenue wasted no time criticizing it. The proposal released Tuesday calls for 75% of that land to be protected in reserves for fish, water, and wildlife. The agency estimates it provides for 278 million board feet of timber harvest per year, which is up from the current 205 million. However, a group of counties say they are fed up. It is not enough. After years of negotiating, begging, and hoping that federal overseers would buy by the ONC Act, a contract that stipulates harvest levels and the use of BLM lands, well, those counties say they're suing. According to Tony Hyde, the president of the Association of ONC Counties and a Columbia County commissioner, says the wording of the ONC Act is very specific.
States that all the timberlands shall be managed for sustained yield production. And also it mandates a minimum harvest each year of 500 million board feet.
The BLM's plan is offering a lot less.
278 million board feet.
And Hyde believes even that level is doubtful 10 years from now.
This locks up 75% of the lands in permanent reserves.
Counties receive a percentage of timber sales, funding roads, jails, law enforcement, schools, jobs, and other vital services. Hyde says it isn't all about just cutting.
We're still looking at providing recovery for endangered species, maintaining clean water and fish habitat, and of course a wide range of recreational opportunities. And so this is not just about let's go clear cut the world, but we think that this is not a balanced plan.
Lane County commissioners recently voted to support the lawsuit against the BLM, adding $84,000 to aid in the lawsuit. Oregon's employment numbers continue to improve.
We can now say that Oregon's unemployment is the lowest it's been in the last 40 years. The unemployment rate dropped to a record low of 4.5% in March. Now that's the lowest Oregon's unemployment rate has been since comparable records have been kept going back to 1976.
State employment economist Nick Blachik says that the unemployment rate is 0.5% lower than the national average of 5%, a feat that hasn't occurred since 1995.
Well, we added 3,900 jobs in March, which is about average for this streak of job gains that we've been seeing. And that followed revised gain of 7,400 jobs the month before.
Blachik says that a number of sectors led the numbers.
Healthcare and social assistance, which added 1,400 jobs, wholesale trade, which added 1,300, and professional and business services, which added 1,200 jobs.
The tightening of Oregon's labor market is leading to rapidly rising wages. In March, the average wage in Oregon was $24.45 an hour. A year ago, it was $23.38. The Benton County Sheriff's Office has suspended a ground search for a Philomath man who disappeared last week when he left his house to run a few errands in Corvallis. The Sheriff's Office says their search for Kurt Braun is now an investigation. Search and rescue has scoured over 4,000 miles of local roads without finding any trace of Braun or his vehicle. An attorney for a woman accused of killing one daughter and slashing another in a Cannon Beach motel room says her client has attempted suicide in a Tillamook County jail. Attorney Lynn Morgan filed court papers Tuesday saying Jessica Smith harmed herself and was found by jail staff in a pool of blood March 30th. Smith was hospitalized and returned to the jail. She's on suicide watch. Smith's lawyers are seeking to have their client admitted to a psychiatric facility, saying she's unable to aid and assist in her own defense. But prosecutors say Smith is malingering and faking mental illness. She pleaded not guilty to murder in the 2014 drowning of her toddler and not guilty to attempted murder in the slashing of her teenage daughter. Nearly 2 million individual and joint forms are expected to be filed this tax season in Oregon. The Oregon Department of Revenue is dealing with tax scammers, in particular identity thieves who use another person's name to receive a fraudulent refund.
In terms of the refunds that we've identified as fraudulently filed, we're talking about several thousand already this filing season. Obviously, there will be more coming in that final wave of returns that we expect to see.
The Department of Revenue's Bob Estabrook says that trying to nab the fraudsters is becoming a bigger part of the job of the Department of Revenue. Sometimes returns are flagged because of information from the IRS. Other times, it's a large disparity from a previous year that'll set off alarm bells at Revenue.
The thing that we're going to do is try and reach out to that taxpayer directly and identify, is this their legitimate return or is this something that somebody else is filing and trying to get their refund?
All of that can and has been slowing down refunds.
If folks are legitimately entitled to a refund, we're going to make sure that they get that. It's not going to be adversely affected by a potential fraudulent filing on that account. Unfortunately, because the rate of fraud is as high as it is, we're having to look at a lot of returns this year for potential fraud.
Estabrook says many times a taxpayer's return is initially tagged as potentially fraudulent, but later found to be legit, and the taxpayer never knows they've been flagged. Court records show U.S. soccer star Abby Wambach pleaded guilty to driving under the influence of intoxicants Tuesday in Portland. The plea means she could see her charges dismissed within a year by enrolling in a diversion program available to first-time offenders. Wambach's blood alcohol content was 0.13%, above Oregon's limit, well above a 0.08%. She later was released on her own recognizance and has since apologized publicly to her fans and to her liver. Senator Jeff Merkley of Oregon has become the first of Bernie Sanders' Senate colleagues to endorse his socialist presidential candidacy. In an op-ed piece, in the New York Times, and in an appearance on MSNBC's Morning Joe show, Merkley gave Sanders high marks for resisting trade treaties that Sanders says cost Americans jobs. Merkley said in the broadcast interview that the Vermont socialist senator has on many issues been out there leading clearly long before he decided to run. McKenzie Surgery Center in Eugene is having its 5th annual Day of Giving, Saturday, April 30th.
It's a free day of surgery for people who are underinsured and uninsured in Eugene and outlying areas.
Bella Friedman with McKenzie Surgery Center says that one day every year, about 15 local surgeons volunteer to perform up to 25 surgeries. Local anesthesiologists and other medical staff volunteer their time. The patients are referred to surgery by either going through Volunteers in Medicine or being referred by their own physician. Most cases are on a first-come, first-served basis, but more disabling conditions are given priority. The surgery center is not a hospital, so major surgeries are not covered. I'm Bill London, News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Wake Up Call Sports on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
NBA, the Memphis Grizzlies, injury-stricken as they are, dropped their 3rd straight game. 9 in the last 10, getting punched by the Clippers 110-84. Dropped them down to number 7 in the Western Conference, tied with Dallas. A full game down on the Portland Trailblazers. See what they have left in the tank tonight as they, the Memphis Grizzlies, only thing between the Golden State Warriors and a historical 73rd win Maybe you heard about it. Blazers have their final regular season game against Denver. Things stay the same. Blazers would open up the first round of the playoff series with the LA Clippers. Lakers will not make the playoffs. They're 24 games off the pace. Last game tonight against the Utah Jazz will mark the last time Kobe Bryant dons a Laker uniform. The 37-year-old will end a 20-year career that came with 5 NBA championships, appearances in 18 All-Star games, and an 81-point performance, ending up third on the all-time scoring list. Oregon golfer Aaron Weiss followed up his 63 at the Western Intercollegiate in Santa Cruz with a 4-under 66 to make and to take a one-stroke lead in the final round over Stanford's Maverick McNeely. Weiss leads the individual leaderboard, but Maverick has Stanford atop the team board. Oregon Duck men's basketball team could have a serious schedule next year. Oregon will have games against North Carolina, UConn, Wisconsin, and a game at Baylor. They'll have UNLV, Alabama, and Boise State at Matthew Knight. And CBS and Turner have an 8-year extension, making a total of 16 from here on out. First contract, $770 million a year. After that, the extension, over $1 billion per year for CBS and Turner. Wake Up Call Sports brought to you by Max Muscle, your authority in sports nutrition since 1991 on Franklin across from Market of Choice in Eugene, News Time 824.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning to you and yours. We have a little bit of light misty rain off and on out there. It's left over from last night's cold front and storm system that brought showers to the area. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies. Temps right now are in the mid to upper 40s with light winds out of the southwest at 5 to 10. Now, most of your day will actually stay dry as we'll be between the storm systems and cold fronts, but we'll still see mostly cloudy skies dominating into the afternoon. Highs look to be in the upper 50s to low 60s. Late in the afternoon, winds will pick up out of the south at 10 to 20. A few gusts could be as high as 30 along Interstate 5 as the next storm system rolls in tonight. That'll happen sometime between about 6 and 8 p.m. We could see moderate to heavy showers. And as the system continues to work its way through, we're going to see a chance of thunderstorms developing late tonight into your Thursday. Now, keep in mind, it is the 1-year anniversary on Thursday of the Lane Community College tornado, so we're keeping a very close eye on this developing situation. But at this point, it looks like we won't get hot enough to see a threat of severe weather, but we're still going to keep a close eye on it for you just in case. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation in the NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day and you stay dry.
Ramjack leads the way in foundation repair. Protect your investment. Get your free in-home evaluation at ramjackwest.com. Check out our exceptional online reviews, then choose Ramjack.
CCB 146906. Max Muscle Sports Nutrition is more than a nutrition store. Tom here at Max Muscle. If you want to make changes to your overall health, lose weight, build muscle, or if you just want to feel better, stop by, talk to a certified nutritionist. Max Muscle, Franklin Boulevard, across from the Market of Choice.
Are you dying to get away from it all? Well, stop by Three Rivers Casino Resort because we can make your getaway dreams a reality. Now through April 16th, you can earn entries to win a dream vacation in our Choose Your Cruise giveaway. Cruise winners will be drawn every hour from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Saturday, April 16th. Visit threeriverscasino.com to find out more. Then, we hope there ain't no mountain high enough to keep you from Three Rivers Casino Resort this May as we host the Supremes and the Drifters. Join us as we relive all your favorite classics on May 21st and 22nd in Florence. Tickets are only $14.99 and $19.99. Visit threeriverscasino.com to reserve your seats now. Come make some magic moments at Three Rivers Casino Resort because things are luckier here.
If you need to sell your home, listen up. Lars here to tell you about a real estate agent right in Lane County that takes the stress out of selling a home. I'm talking about Jeremy Parmenter of Keller Williams Realty. Jeremy has a marketing system for selling homes on a whole different level than anyone you're going to talk to in Lane County. Jeremy works with the top real estate developer in Oregon, and week after week, Jeremy attracts hundreds of buyers, which creates demand and helps your home sell fast and for top dollar. That's why Jeremy offers a home sale guarantee. If Jeremy can't sell your home at a price and deadline you agreed to, he'll buy it. Plus, it's risk-free. If he isn't doing his job after one day, you can fire him. But don't worry, you won't, because he outsells the average agent 8-to-1. If I needed to sell my home and lived in Lane County, I'd call up Jeremy. Call Jeremy today at 541-255-5685. That's 541-255-5685. And start packing.
When you think fishing or firearms, think Mazama.
Local, family-owned Mazama is your fishing headquarters with brands like G. Loomis, St. Croix, Shimano, Daiwa, and a variety of locally made products tailor-made for this region. Team Mazama is eager and knowledgeable.
Plus, they offer layaway on firearms and fishing gear.
Pick up your hunting and fishing license while you're there. Conveniently located on West 11th in the same parking lot as Lowe's. Get to Mazama and get hooked on the good life. When you think fishing or firearms, think Mazama.
All right, so when you're 5 years old, you use things like brushing your teeth, going to the restroom, glass of water to delay going to bed. When you're an adult, there's still the things that you use to delay going to bed, like, TV shows, TV programs, maybe the internet, books, eating, drinking. There's still things out there. It's amazing how those things go by the wayside when you really like your bed, you're tired, and you can't wait to get back to it. If you are in that spot where the voice of a TV show or the book or the kitchen is going to be louder than your beds, you need to go and check out the interest-free for 3 event going on right now. Interest-free. We're talking about 3 years. Interest-free financing. No money down on top-name brands like Tempur-Pedic and Beautyrest Black Hybrid. Or, of course, when you go the movable base route, which I would heartily recommend. A lot of benefits to hitting Baby Sleep Train today because you'll be sleeping like a baby tonight.
So head on in as Sleep Train. You're going to find them all over the place. Albany, Corvallis, Eugene, and Springfield. And tell them that the Wake Up Call sent you, please.
The Wake Up Call with Holloway in London on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
829 News Radio 1120 KPNW. We got a new team to talk about here on the Wake Up Call. We've never had them in the studio, and it's the Ladies Reign, REIGN, right?
Yeah.
The women's flag football team here to talk about what they got going and what potentially you could have going too if you know somebody out there that plays flag football. We'll start with Erica. Erica, you're the captain, Erica Dooley.
Yes, that's me.
Do you want to go ahead and introduce everybody else that's next to you, to your left?
Yeah. We have Danielle here, Kara. Oh, yes, Danielle, a.k.a. Flash.
Okay, give the nickname if there is one and the position, too.
Wide receiver. Danielle plays wide receiver. Then we have Kara.
Cookie.
A.k.a. Cookie.
Slot.
She plays slot. And then we have Shelby. Shelby doesn't really have a nickname yet, but she is our quarterback.
Wait, the quarterback doesn't have a nickname?
Yes, she does. We actually gave her one. I gave her one. She's known as Bullet.
Oh, okay.
Bullet. So Shelby is Bullet, and then we have Tabitha. Her nickname is Taboo, and she plays the line with me.
Okay, so for people that don't know, how long has this flag football team been around, this league been around? How long has flag football for women been in Eugene?
In Eugene, probably about 2 weeks ago, Sunday was our first game for the first ever women's flag football league in Eugene.
So wait. So you used to be called Flawless, but that was like 2 weeks ago? So you just changed it?
Well, it was more than 2 weeks ago that we changed it. We've been practicing and getting a team together since probably September, and we've done a couple tournaments. But as far as having a league in Eugene for women's flag football exclusively, 2 weeks ago Sunday was our first game for a women's Eugene league.
So you guys have made history, essentially.
Yes. Yeah.
Is there? Are you finding that there's an interest and people are like really curious about wanting to to at least investigate? A lot of women out there?
I think so, definitely. It's one of those things where football is America's game, and women typically haven't really had a place in that. And now that they're seeing that, look, there's a huge group of women that are getting involved, and they can do it too. We're always recruiting. We're always looking for more women, and we want to get people involved because it's been such an amazing experience for us. We want as many other women to have this experience as well.
So I imagine you have differing skill levels, people that are very athletic, some people that aren't very athletic, kind of across the spectrum. Is that accurate?
Definitely. We have a very, very diverse group. I'd say probably, 60 to 70% of our ladies here were moms. We have family life. It's just such a diverse group that we all love each other so much, and we come together for this sport that we love, and it's been an amazing experience. But we definitely have all different skill levels.
How many teams are there in the Eugene, Springfield area?
There's only one official established team.
That's you, right?
And that's us, yeah. So we're looking to grow the league. We want to get more people involved with us, and then eventually we'll split into 2 teams, and then hopefully, more from there. And
so how many teams are there in, the state? You got to be playing somebody. You just had your first game. Where were they from, and how many other teams are there in the league?
In our league, so there's a Salem team, a Roseburg team, and then we have our Eugene team, and then Medford Grants Pass area also has another league, and they've been in the flag football scene a bit longer than we have. But we have a couple teams from there come up to help to play us just so that we can get more playing time.
Didn't you say there was teams in California too?
Yeah. We've had a couple girls that are on our team that have actually went down to Fresno to play in tournaments and stuff like that. So I think there's a pretty big scene in California for flag football as well. We're just trying to bring it up north here so we can get involved.
Where are you guys playing then? What is there a particular park, a field, a school?
A stadium?
Yeah, a stadium.
We
play at Hudson.
Of course, yeah. Well, that's our ultimate goal, of course. We practice right now Mondays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. at Springfield High School on their grass soccer fields.
Silky?
No, we don't play at Silky. We just play on the practice soccer field.
Oh, okay.
In the grass. And then our games are on Sundays at Willamma Lane on the turf fields. And then something that's really great that we really want to get people involved in is Tuesdays at 6 p.m. at South Eugene High School. We have representatives from the league that we play in that come all the way from Medford every Tuesday, and they're doing like a boot camp series. And so we learn a couple skills and drills for flag football while we're there, but it's mainly just to promote that, you can come out and get a good workout and meet a ton of awesome people for free. So it's something that's really exciting. We just had one last night, and it was a pretty good turnout.
You got a fundraising event, car wash coming up. What are you raising funds for?
Well, we have league fees, we have equipment, we have tournaments, travel, accommodations, uniforms, and we don't have any sponsors at this point. So
are you looking for?
We definitely are looking for sponsors. Absolutely. So, but essentially, we've just been paying all those expenses out of pocket. So we've decided to do as much fundraising as possible. So we're having a car wash this Saturday at Straight Line Auto Body. The address is 1125 Bailey Hill Road, and we'll be out there from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Signing autographs, washing cars.
Of course, signing autographs.
Taking pictures.
A little photo, meet and greets.
Balloons for the kids. So if you want information on, maybe joining, or how does somebody go about that?
Yeah.
We have a Facebook page. It's Ladies Reign. And so you can contact us on Facebook. You can come out to one of our practices or the skills and drills on Tuesday at 6 p.m. at South Eugene. What I would suggest, if somebody's even nervous about getting involved, just come out and give it a try. Meet the ladies. You'll fall in love, and you'll never look back.
Is there an age limit? Like, for instance, you have to be over 18, or 12-year-olds can't, or what's
it is an adult league, so you can be 16 with 16 and 17-year-olds have to have parental consent. 18 plus, we don't have.
You're on your own. You can
you're on your own.
So are these coaches, significant others, or are they groupies? That these people that are
These are actually
This is our fan followers.
fan followers?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're representatives
That didn't
from our
take long.
league. They're trying to grow the league and help us get more people to play, and so they're doing a live feed to just get more hype around this. We really want to help this sport grow and get as many people involved as possible. So that's what they're here for, to support us.
I didn't see it on there, but is there a schedule somewhere online? I didn't see it on the Facebook page.
We don't have a schedule because this Sunday is it was a really short league. We did double headers because we had people traveling from so far.
Sure.
So we made it like a month-long league. So this Sunday at 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. are our last two games.
Last two?
So it's the championships. So, and I guess, we only play at 4 p.m. if we win at 3 p.m. But I'm not confident that I'll say we have a 3 p.m. and a 4 p.m. game this Sunday at Willamette Lane.
And then, okay, so if somebody didn't make it this year, then they could train for next year.
Oh, yeah. We're doing tournaments throughout the summer.
Oh, okay.
From what I hear, there's supposed to be a fall league. So we're going to still be practicing and playing. We want to try and do at least one tournament per month. So
It's gotta be-
even though this particular league is over, there's plenty of opportunity to play.
Especially if you're looking for friends or networking or just, kind of want to get into a cool circle. It's got to be kind of a cool experience for some, especially like if you're new to town.
Yeah, definitely. We're a really fun group, and we love getting people involved. So I can't imagine that, if somebody came out, that they wouldn't have a great time.
But no stinky boys allowed. No
Well,
stinky boys.
we have two stinky boy coaches, but
Okay. That's your max.
yeah,
your
that's our max. That's our max. No, people bring their significant others all the time. But
Erica,
as
keep
far
us
as
posted,
actually
okay?
playing,
Let us know,
definitely.
and anything that you need us to get the word out, we'll have you guys back.
Awesome. We really appreciate it. Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
Go Rain! 8:39 News Radio 1120
The
KPNW.
Bloomberg Market Report, sponsored by Pacific Continental Bank, serving your business and community in Eugene for over 40 years.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. It's a second straight day of solid gains on Wall Street. The Dow up 102 points, the Nasdaq up 49, and the S&P up 12. JP Morgan Chase is leading the Dow. Trading revenue fell less than expected. Shares are up more than 3%. Improved trade data out of China is also helping. An investment group is complaining that Chipotle's board doesn't look like Chipotle's customers and is ill-equipped to rebuild customer trust in the chain after E. coli and norovirus outbreaks linked to some restaurants. The CTW investment group says the all-white, mostly male board should recruit some new members. The future of Yum Brands Taco Bell may depend largely on the cheese pull. It spent 2 years perfecting the quesalupa, its newest and cheesiest menu item, and it's monitoring social media for dissatisfaction with the stretchiness of the cheese. Restaurants are being told not to overcook them or let them lie around. Taco Bell is Yum's best-performing restaurant. I'm Adrienne Mitchell, Bloomberg.
Pacific Continental Bank is proud to call the Eugene-Springfield area home for more than 40 years. As your local banker, partner, and neighbor, we are committed to the health and sustainability of your business and our community. We know it takes more than a loan or deposit to help you succeed. It takes people who know you, your business, and your community. Who says we can't be more than a bank? Pacific Continental Bank, the right bank. Learn more at therightbank.com. Member FDIC.
I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Chris with Home Comfort. When we say the one to call,
the one means no matter what the problem.
From security lighting, generator systems, panel changeouts, service upgrades, technicians available 24/7.
Or HVAC, from routine cleanings to breakdowns. Home Comfort's an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. So our highly skilled technicians will ready your house for any season.
Make one call to 541-345-2838.
Home Comfort, the one to call. There comes a time in each of our lives, a day that defines us. Will you be ordinary or extraordinary? Will you be humdrum or will you be a hero? That day is today. The day you choose to become an ODOT-approved driver ed instructor. Hey folks, Driver Ed here, just practicing my recruitment speech because I want you to help me save lives. Did you know that teens who take Driver Ed go on to be much better drivers? That means fewer crashes and safer roads. But to reach everyone across the state, we need more instructors. So consider joining me, Driver Ed. You'll gain valuable teaching experience and earn some extra money. And with less than 9 weeks for training, including convenient online classes, you can be a ready-to-hire hero in no time. allowing for cape fittings, of course. So choose to be extraordinary. Become an ODOT approved driver ed instructor. Get started at whydrivewithed.com. See you down the road, heroes. A message from ODOT.
Come to the forest. It's a place not so far away. A place where you don't have to mow the lawn or babysit.
I saw lizards and squirrels and bugs. Ladybugs, caterpillars. It's really cool, actually.
A place where you don't have to make time for free time.
Lots and lots of kinds of species here.
Out here, you may even meet the mysterious creature known as the other you. The enchanted you.
It's magic what flowers do.
The adventurous you.
My favorite tree, yes, that one.
The free-to-be-me you. Ask your parents to take you to this not-so-far-away place. Come to the forest, where the other you lives. But first, stop by discovertheforest.org, a public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
KPNW weather, brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning. If you're headed out that door in the next few minutes or you're already out and about, we have mostly cloudy skies out there. A storm system last night with a cold front moved through, bringing showers, and even now we're tracking some light misty rain out there, but no real accumulation at this point. Temps right now are in the mid to upper 40s with light winds out of the southwest at 5 to 10. This afternoon we're looking at mostly cloudy skies dominating, and most of the day will actually stay dry as we're between the cold fronts and storm systems. Now highs this afternoon will be in the upper 50s to low 60s, but anytime after 6 p.m. the next stronger cold front will move in, bringing moderate to heavy showers back to the region this evening, and we will see winds kick up out of the south at 10 to 20, some gusts as high as 30 out there. Be prepared as the next storm system moves in tonight. Now as it carries over into your Thursday, we will see a few isolated showers as well as thunderstorms Thursday morning carrying into the afternoon. Some of them could be strong to severe, especially on the fact that it's the 1-year anniversary of the Lane Community College tornado. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation, the NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, it is my profound pleasure to introduce
The Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
News Radio 1120 KPNW. Can't believe how nice this morning has been. Gorgeous day out there. Enjoy it while you can. Joining us back in the Widmer Studios, it is the president of the Greater Eugene market of Pacific Continental Bank, Denise Gazelle, joining us on the Wake Up Call. Your Excellency, welcome back to the studio.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, it's a pleasure to have you back. For folks that don't know about Pacific Continental Bank, give them the elevator speech.
The elevator speech, community-centric, client-centric, homegrown here in Greater Eugene. We're headquartered here and we operate in 3 large markets, Portland, Seattle, and the Eugene market. We're pushing $2 billion, but we still like to think of ourselves as a very small community-based bank.
Do you get to go in and touch the $2 billion? Do you get to go in and fondle it?
I do get to see a fair amount of cash moving across the lobbies, that's for sure.
All right. What specifically, the bank itself, do you specialize in a certain type of clientele?
You know, we do tend to focus in 3 distinct niches. A community-based business, we like to sit down and visit with the owners, the decision makers, meet eyeball to eyeball. We also bank the nonprofit community. We're very solid and strong in that area, as well as the professional sectors, which would include any of your physicians, dentists, CPA firms, attorney firms, veterinarians, etc.
We just did a story the other morning. The Tim Dewey with the Oregon Economic Forum put out the state, economic index, which they do every month for February, and things were looking fairly healthy. Lane County wise, how are things looking business-wise?
I would agree. I think that it appears to be very solid and strong. In this market, there are certain areas that are stronger than other industries. You know, if we think about the economic cycle and the growth cycle, currently we're at about a 89-month growth cycle, which is really the longest ever that we've had. Traditionally, that would range in that mid-50 range before we would begin to see a correction. And so as we look out over the next 12...
Yeah, but we were down a long ways. There was plenty of room for growth.
There absolutely was plenty of room for growth. And as we look out over the next 12 to 18 months, things still feel to be very solid and strong. Particularly in certain industries, we're seeing very strong growth in the construction arena or any industry that is tied to the construction arena. We continue to see a lot of multifamily housing units come on board. We're seeing a lot of growth in the senior care area in terms of housing, and we know that the housing market is very brisk right now. There's very low inventory, rates are still good, and so there are a lot of construction starts that continue to happen within this community.
Over the next decade or two, because you brought up senior care facilities, over the next decade or two, I would have to imagine if you could somehow get skin in that game, the projections would be you're going to make some serious coin.
Well, certainly the baby boomer generation is a large population, and we're all moving in that direction every day. And so I think that
Speak
is
for
in
yourself.
part, well, I think that is in part why we're seeing a lot of that activity, even within our own community.
As you're looking at this, I'm imagining as well, you're saying, well, okay, so these areas are strong, but these areas, these are the stragglers, these are the special cases. They're the ones on the short economic bus. Which ones are those?
I don't know that I could pick out any one individually. I met with a client here recently who has a large trucking firm in this community, and 2011, 12, 13, and 14 for the trucking industry was very brisk. They saw a little bit of a lull or slow down in 15, and as communicated to me by him in 2016 first quarter, they're up over that 15 number, so that's a good projection.
If you were just having cocktails with somebody and they said, well, I got this business and maybe I'm looking to expand, should I hold fast? What kind of information or what would you tell that business owner as far as, the local economy and maybe what the expectations might be?
I think that there is still opportunity for continued growth in this market. I think that you need to be cautious as you look to grow. We have some clients that are growing so fast that we're posing caution to them because you can grow yourself out of a job, out of a business. You need to have the capital to make that happen. So a strong balance sheet is always a very healthy thing for a small business owner.
Do you see anything like, because we've seen a number of things that have been forced down from the legislature. You've got mandatory sick leave, now the mandatory minimum wage increases, and likely more things of that nature coming down the way, including the possibility of IP28, which is a tax not on net but gross. Do you look at that as somebody who runs a bank, who deals with business owners specifically, and do you look at that and go, I don't know that this is going to be sustainable if we continue down this path?
It is absolutely something we look at on a regular basis. We are always having those types of discussions with our clients. We will often put on educational seminars specifically for hot topics, just as you mentioned. We will run our own internal sensitivity analysis. We're going through that process right now relative to IP28. So absolutely, as a financial institution that looks to remain sustainable and viable, it is absolutely something that needs to be done. And likely, while we haven't seen it quite yet, likely the feds who come in and do the auditing of financial services industries are going to be looking for those same answers.
Well, when you say you're doing your sensitivity studies dealing with IP28, preliminarily, what kind of things are you finding regarding that?
Well, what we will be looking for is to sift through the portfolio to understand who those clients are that meet that criteria of $25 million or more in revenues, and then understand what that profitability would look like had they had that tax. So it's really looking into the portfolio to make sure we understand what clients may be impacted, proactive work to the client, understanding what their plan is to address IP28, and then understanding and gaining a comfort from the bank side.
What kind of things, though? Let's say that, I've got my small business. Let's say I've started my small business. I'm still at that point where I'm not really profitable, that maybe my margin is 1%, 1.5%, and struggling to get by. And then all of a sudden, now you got a 2.5% tax on your gross receipts. I mean, all of that is out the window.
For those companies with revenues of 25 million or more, yes, it will be out the window as designed today. So that means that management team really needs to understand how they're going to approach this additional tax should it come to fruition.
That's got to be. Have you been hearing from many of your the folks that you work with about IP28, or are people still kind of oblivious to it?
I would say we're hearing some. Probably not as much as we should at this point. We're probably discussing it more internally than I'm hearing from our client base at this point.
Well, if you want more information, just Google IP28. You'll find quite a bit of information out there about it. So just give us a just give us a quick 6-month. Here's what we think the economy is going to do in the next 6 months.
I think the economy is going to stay solid and firm in the next 6 months. I would continue to be looking to expand my customer base. And if I'm a small business owner in this environment with unemployment at 4.5%, which is very low, and the very tight labor market, I would be making sure that my talented employees are happy and content with who I am and what business they're working for. It's just a very costly, to turn over employees is very expensive.
Yeah, in a number of different ways.
Yes.
Out of curiosity, are you hearing this kind of the same things we've been talking about this morning in sort of the same layout from like the offices in Portland and Seattle? Or is Eugene pretty much all the rest of them pretty homogenous in terms of the way things are going?
No, I think that the Portland market is very strong. You've got record low inventory and housing units up there, so you've got a lot of infrastructure happening. Seattle is an international city. They've got the tech industry. I mean, I understand there's a lot of tech relocating from the Bay Area even into the Portland market. So it's a lot less expensive to live in Portland over and above the Bay Area. So there's a lot of relocation happening there.
And Portland ain't cheap.
And it is not inexpensive. That's for sure.
So a lot of in-migration from California into Oregon.
I understand Oregon has been the #1 state in the last 2 years in a row for in-migration. Yeah.
Denise, always a pleasure to have you in. Denise Gazelle, she is the empress of the local Pacific Continental Bank. Actually, she's the president, but empress sounds so much more. What, you don't like empress? You don't like? You're welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's a pleasure to have you in. 8:55. By the way, if you want more information from them, you can, of course, check them out on the web or just give them a call. You got a phone number?
541-984-2222 is my direct line.
Yeah, give them a call. Anyway, that's a wrap for us. We are out the door. We'll see you tomorrow morning here on the Wake Up Call, starting at 6.
Built for business. Waiting. No one enjoys it. With Comcast Business, you can do less of it. Because Comcast Business Internet is up to 5 times faster than DSL from the phone company, which means less waiting for things like security backups and file downloads. Plus, it's a better value when you select the fastest plan. So do what nearly 1,000 businesses do every day and choose Comcast Business. Unless you'd prefer to wait. Switch to Comcast Business Internet. Then add 1 voice line and TV for just $34.90 a month for 2 years. And ask about their low price guarantee. Call 800-501-6000 or visit ComcastBusiness.com. That's 800-501-6000. Comcast Business. Built for business.